You know, that Imperial Aquila on the titles there, that's the official Games Workshop one that I downloaded and messed around with. It's not symmetrical, and it bugs me every time. It's not symmetrical at all. It's like drawn by a child, and I'm gonna have to fiddle with it at some point and clean it up. It just does my head in. I can't look at it, and my little symmetrical gene is going, oh, I don't like. Oh, it's not balanced. The wings, and I don't like. Anyway, yes, hello, welcome, one and all, welcome to Warhammer Sunday, he said, taking a deep swallow, because he... never mind. Anyway, yes, welcome. It is Sunday. It is time for me to crack on with some Warhammery goodness. Crack on making some more Space Wolves. Before we get going, as always, big, massive shout out to all the people that make my content possible and make this channel exist. First and foremost, my patrons and channel members who support me at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. I don't know what that was. It's a slash universal symbol of slash patreon.com/modelmakingguru. It's a bit camp, innit? Shut up now. Yes, patreon.com/modelmakingguru, and my YouTube channel members who supported me by pressing the join button under any one of my videos. They support me financially, they keep this channel alive, they keep it existing. So big, massive thank you to them. Without them, this channel wouldn't exist and I'd be in a job. So thank you to them for making this all possible. And of course, my corporate supporters, emodels.co.uk, and my nose is running already. Good God, man. I've not even started yet. emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shops for all your model making needs. I'm wiping my nose already and I've not even started yet. Good God. Yes, welcome. If you're not a patron or a channel member, do please consider becoming one. It does help this channel stay alive. It puts food on my table. It means I can do this all the time. So please do consider becoming a patron or a channel member. But yes, we're going to be carrying on with the... we are building all the Space Marines from where's the page? I can't find that. I'm not prepared. This sentence has no real proper tonal structure. Prophecy of the Wolf box set, which I've bought the Space Marine half off Simon Reynolds, our good friend and Golden Demon winner twice. Simon Reynolds. I'm building all the Space Marines because I will build up my own little Space Wolf army. So far we've built a mess of dudes. But you might be wondering why the camera is all the way out here. It's first of all to get my enormous coffee in shot. I made some terrible coffee. That's really horrible. Well done, Fox. Firstly, to get my coffee in shot, but also I've got some packages. I've got some things to open before we get going. So it's sort of mystery package time. Now, one of the packages, I've got a runny nose. Good God. Sorry about this. One of the packages is one I've opened last week, but I haven't had just to properly show it to you. Because I got these guys from Simon Reynolds and I'm building them slowly, I thought I may as well start building up a little Space Wolves army. So that once I've got all my entire Death Corps army and my Imperial Guard army, and I've got some Space Marines, I may as well make them Space Wolves, because I like Space Wolves, because how can you not like Space Puppies? So I got the ones off Simon that I'm building now. I got myself as well, just to pad out the numbers, I got myself the Combat Patrol a couple of weeks ago, which is a whole mess of Space Wolves, and what is it called? The Primaris Invictal Tactical Suit. Yes. Basically, Ripley in her... It's basically it's a tactical suit. It's an armoured exoskeleton, basically. So I've got a load of dudes to build in here. This is actually quite a heavy, chunky pack. Yeah. So we're going to have these. It is mostly a Primaris force. Now, I've got a couple of Primaris-capable vehicles that I can Space Wolf up. But I am going to have to start getting some non-Primaris old-style Space Marines to do Space Wolves as well. Because I've got some vehicles that are non-Primaris compatible and I want to make them part of the same army. So, like the repulsors and stuff that I've got. So, and my the tank thing that my brother got me for Christmas, it's not compatible with Primaris. So I need to get some old-style Space Wolves as well. So I'll be getting more of them in the future. But this will do me now for a load of them over there and these guys here, a lot of Primaris forces, and I can't wait to paint that. That looks like simple, good fun. Not particularly complicated, but simple, good fun. So this is one of the new Combat Patrol packs that's replacing the Start Collecting boxes. The stock collecting boxes were like 50 quid for 90 quid's worth of stuff. These are, I think, 80 quid or something like. I got this from Goblin Gaming, of course, so it's 20% off. So it was like 60 odd quid. And it's still a saving, because I think that's like 30 odd quid, and you get all the guys. So I think you're probably saving a little bit, but you don't save quite as much. But they're designed for the new play style for the new edition. So anyway, we've got all them to build in the future. It's very heavy, but we do have some packages. Let's go through the packages. First of all, we have this glowing package that has come all the way from Japan, as you can see from the address on the front. It's got Japan post there. I've taken the address out. It's come all the way from Japan, and it was sent by a gentleman called Iko Tatashita. I'll read that properly in proper Japanese pronunciation. Iko Tachita, which is Mr. Iko. I don't know who he is. He's the guy that runs the shop I bought these from. I got myself some. This is not Spaceball specific. That was hard work. I nearly hit myself in the face, but not quite. We have something that someone mentioned the other week. We have an invoice I'm not going to show you, because I don't need to disclose my name and address to you. It's a shop called Rise Next, Iko Tachita Rise Next, from Satamashi. I can't pronounce it, never mind. My Japanese pronunciation is garbage. I've got some Tamiya decal paper. This is basically a masking paper. It's basically Tamiya masking tape in sheets. I get 5 sheets in a pack. So I've now got 10 sheets of Tamiya masking paper. Yes. Oops. So loveliness. That will come in handy in the future when I need to do big flat thing. It's one of those things that I think I keep meaning to buy it. And now I've got some, I'll probably never use it, because I'll never have to use it ever again. If you are somebody who does lots of, say, camouflage patterns or aircraft canopies or something like that, and you like to use masking tape, this kind of stuff can be handy, because you could, if you've got to, cut a square, I think these are in millimeters, I think they're fairly simply, I think it's like a 1mm grid. So yeah, if you've got to do a piece of masking tape 10mm by 10mm, well, it's just one of these squares. So yeah, it's really handy stuff, and I'll probably never ever use it. It's probably the way it's going to go. Now we also have another package which has arrived. I just need to cover up a barcode. Hang on, because you never know. Now it arrived the other day. It has been on the tea towel of quarantine for a few days. Let's see if you can guess where it's come from. Can you guess where it's come from? Yes. Good friend Luke over at Black Rifle Model Works. And I keep calling him Lee all the time, and I don't know why I keep calling him. I'm going to move Gutham out of the way for a minute. I always call him Lee, and I don't know why. As you know, Luke, go and check out his YouTube channel and his Facebook page, Black Rifle Model Works. Wonderful modeler. He is building a Space Wolves army as well. He's recently fallen into the Warhammer pit, and he's taken to it with the plum. And he's doing some beautiful Space Wolf stuff, and he's painting up all his Thunderwolves and his Thunderwolf cavalry and all his Space Marines. And I've been talking to him about, how I can actually use old Marines and new Marines, because I didn't know you could combine old Space Marines and new Space Marines in one force. I didn't realise you could do that. So now I know I can use old style Space Marines. But he said he's got something. He said, I've got something that I'm not going to use for my army. Do you want it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. So he sent me something, which I shall open now. So massive thank you to Luke. Well, do go and check out his channel. He's a really talented painter. He's only recently gone into the Warhammer stuff, but he's approaching it like his regular armour painting, and he's doing an awesome job of it. He posts up in the Boom Hut. So do go and check it out. And of course his YouTube channel, Black Rifle Model Works. You can see it there with the words. Let's get this open. Oh, first thing. He sent me a whole mess of stickers. One of these will be going on the back of my iPad. Thank you very much. That was very nice. I do have a big pile of stickers that I was sort of giving away over every week. and then obviously the world caught fire and I can't go anywhere to post things, so I'll put one on the back of my iPad and I'll put the rest in my pile of stickers when I eventually get back to posting things and giving stickers away. We'll crack on with that. Now we've got some squishly paper, but then inside we have, yes, we have some bases. Let me just put this paper back in the box. It's out of the way. I'm fighting now. I'm fighting with it now. And we have some sprues, because what he sent me is the Outrider squad. It's the new Space Marine bikes. You know how like the old Space Marine bikes give me the shivers because they're garbage. These are the new Space Marine bikes, which aren't garbage. I'm actually looking forward to painting these guys. So this is the Outrider squad. It's basically a squad of 3 bikes. I think it's all 3 bikes on here. I think 2 of them, 3 of them, 3 I think. Got 3 bases. So he sent me all 3 of these because he had some of these for his Space Wolves army, but he's decided to nix that because he's a Primaris. He's got his Ultra style Marines as well. He's now going to focus on his Thunderwolf cavalry, which for Space Wolves, until these guys came along, the tradition with Space Wolves is instead of blokes on motorbikes, you have blokes on Fenrisian wolves. Literally like 9-foot tall Space Marines on the back of 10-foot tall Space Wolves. It's kind of awesome. So instead of motorbikes, they have just ginormous wolves. So he said, I don't need these. I'm going to have the Thunderwolf cavalry instead, which he's been painting and which look fantastic. So I'm like, I will happily take these because, of course, I've got Primaris. So I'm going to have these guys on the motorbikes to go with all these guys over here that we'll be building in a minute. And then eventually I will start getting some old style Space Marines, but we'll stick with the ones we've got for now. So brilliant, Luke, thank you very much for that. We shall get these built up over the coming weeks as we build up all these Space Wolves over the next few weeks. That's massive thank you for that. And he's printed out the instructions for me, which is very kind. Because these are from, I'm guessing these are from a set, but I can't remember which set they're in. Of course, we're not going to need any of the Ultramarines decals because no. We don't, in this house, we don't do Ultramarines rubbish. We don't do it. I will never, ever paint an Ultramarine anything. I started painting them for that Warhammer Conquest thing. They're all going to be stripped and repainted as something good. I will never paint a Space Marine. I partly painted them, so I never completed them, so I'm allowed that one. I will never, ever, in my own armies, or paint, well, I might paint one day, but in my own armies, I will never have Ultramarines because so boring. Why would you want Ultramarines make have Space Wolves? So anyway, yes, Luke, massive thank you for those. I really appreciate that. They will get a good home in my Space Wolves army. That's all. They've got little holes in. That's kind of handy. Ah, the wheels have pegs on them. Aha, awesome. The wheels have pegs on, which is handy. I might put some at jaunty angles though. So what I might do is, maybe you've got a wheel there. Let's see if there's a wheel with a peg on it. You've got these little pegs on the wheels. What I might do is snip the peg off, drill a hole, and then I can use the hole, because I know where the hole goes, I can use the hole in the wheel to put a little peg through to mount the bike at a jaunty angle, because I've done this before with some of the other Space Marine bikes. You get the bike and you kind of install it, but you put it at an angle like he's banking around a corner. So we shall do that. So Luke, massive thank you for those. That is awesome. Do go and check out Luke's channel, Black Rifle Model Works, on the YouTubes and on the Facebooks. You'll see him in the Boom Hut as well. He hangs out in the Boom Hut. So do go and check those out. Massive thank you for that, Luke. And we will get them built in the coming weeks. So brilliant. Thank you. I need to take my hoodie off because it's really warm. We've actually got the heating turned off today because it's such a nice day. Now, what we're going to do today, we're going to crack on. I'm going to have to move the camera in, so I need a focusing tool. This is where it all goes to pot. I may do squares because, give me a second. I'm going to be working here on a little fellow. So let's just get a fellow there. So I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. I don't want to be too far out. Far out, dude. I also don't want you to see the back of my hand or my top of my head. That'll do. I think we'll do there. That'll do. Right. Focus time. There we go. Focusing now, sir. I think that's about right. That'll do. Yeah, so Luke, massive thank you. And unknown Japanese store owner, thank you for my decal sheets. I will find it useful. We'll have a quick look at chat. We've got lots of chat in, so I'll go through quickly. The first person I've got in was Timothy Kalako, but might have been people before that because I was behind on the chat. Welcome, Timothy. Mayhem Model Works and Making Models are both in. Carl's in. Welcome, Carl. Where are Plastic Monkey? Scale Model Muse. Hey, Muse and Monkey. Raging Modeler says Sport. Where are we? Who else have we got? Let's have a look. Dad at Scaly Models, one of your lovely moderators, Dad at Scaly Models, and Colin at Festa 67's workshop are both in as well. So big hugs to both of them. Dad, of course, and Festa. They're lovely fellas. Burpage. They're lovely fellas. They'll look after you. They'll keep you safe in chat. They'll make sure you're safe and protected and no harm comes to you. But if you cross them, they'll strip the skin off your body with a potato peeler, burn you alive and feed you to the pigs. So don't cross them, mods. So Dad is in, Sarah Jane is in. Welcome, Sarah Jane. We have Panzer Koenig is in. Making Models is waving frantically. Dan Kramer's in. Welcome, Dan. Somebody said about throwing a rubber, I think to catch someone's attention. And Dan Kramer says, while I know what you mean by throwing a rubber, I choose the grosser US definition for my own amusement. Oh, children. Nim Cinderin is in. Welcome, Nim. Hello. Thank you for introducing me to Slackworm. I had lost that whole day reading that. Timothy Kalako says, morning, everyone. Sarah Jane is trying to eat a curry while lying on the floor. It's not easy. I think I'll invent the chair. But if you sit on the chair with the curry on the floor, you'll have to keep getting off the chair to get to the curry, so you'll have to invent the table as well. Sorry to give you more work. Panzer Koenig says, you'll have my full attention today. I'm not at the bench, so I've no chance I'll be spending an hour looking for a dropped part. You will. Even if you're not at the bench and not working on a model, you'll still lose a part. Who else have we got? Let's have a look. We have EC Idaho is in. Good day to everyone. Welcome, EC Idaho. But people talking about paint mixers. Colin's in. Festa 67's workshop. Hey, my friend. Where are we up to? Look and see. Somebody asked, I don't know who it was because I can't find the comment, but somebody asked, did they miss the stream last week? No, Mama Fox and I were ill all from like last Saturday all the way through to like Thursday this week. So I haven't done anything from last Saturday night. We've just both been really, really seriously ill. We're fine now. We're back to normal now. But we were horribly ill. Whoever it was that asked that. Let's have a look. Dad asks the question, bench and belly. So what is on your bench? What are you working on right now? And what's in it? That's a bit overexposed, that, I think. Are you overexposed? We test. No, it's all right. I'll be checking my exposure. Yes, bench and belly. What are you working on right now? What is your plastic crack that you're building? Or anything creative that you're doing? What are you doing? And what's in your belly? What have you had for your dinner? Or what are you having for your dinner? Lynn Dipple's in. Hey, Lynn. How you doing? Big hugs. Colin at Festa 67's workshop says hello to me about 14 times. So I said hello back. And now he thinks people might think we're having a bromance. We can't have a bromance. I'm a princess. It doesn't work like that. So, let's have a look. Panzer Koenig says, just ate breakfast, so nothing, but might have a slice of salted caramel cake. Bench upstairs out of harm's way. This is the bench and belly. EC Idaho says, belly, soon to be bacon. Bench 100 scale Zaku cannon and Airfix 148 Swedish J26 P51 Mustang. Cool. Timothy Kalako says, bench Dark Angel's Intercessors, as shown with the Sergeant, posted in the Boom Hut. Belly, leftover linguine with white clam sauce and a glass of tang. God, let's have a look. And now the main sponsor, the Canadian High Commission, says Panzer. Anybody come in since then? We have Timothy Kalako bought a mask with the Aquila on it. Cool. Does everyone have their weekly dose of Tim Hortons coffee? Asks Nim Cinderin. We don't really get Tim Hortons over there. I've seen a handful of them in the UK. There's one near us. I've never been in there though. I always thought Tim Hortons was Australian, but I don't know why. Lynn Dipple's just crawled out of bed. Sorry she missed Colin's show. Panzer Koenig has a cup of Nescafe Gold Bland. Good name. That's what I used to call it. You want to get some Dareg, but it's gold. That's proper instant coffee. I know at this point Speedy Q8 will be rolling in his grave, even though he's not even dead. He'll be preemptively rolling in his grave violently because I'm talking about instant coffee. But if you're going to go instant coffee, our Egbert's Gold is just the best. Nescafe's horrible. Where are we? And Dipple, so Jane, East Idaho. The Games Workshop designer for the new mech suit admitted to playing Titanfall, says Mayhem. Oh, that explains why the Invictus battlesuit is... Because a lot of people have said it's just a dreadnought with the hole in the middle, with a gap where the guy can look out. And it's like, not really, because a dreadnought's a coffin with legs and arms. It's got almost a dead space marine in it who's kept on the verge of death. Basically a coffin. The battle suit is just power armor. It's just like a big power loader type power armor stuff. It's just a vehicle, if anything else. People rap on it, but I quite like it. It's simple. Where are we? Nimsunduin has a pan of cheesy goodness. Awesome. Those sheets are great, says Panzer. I have them for Chinese digital camo. Oh yes, those decal sheets. That is another thing they'd be great for, because they're millimeter squared. You could, if you're doing digital camo, you just cut out your little bits and stick them on. This is just Tamiya masking tape in a big sheet. So, perfect. I'll never find a use for them now. As a minion of Jeff Bezos, that blue smile makes me shudder. Yes. Ray Aquilina's in. Hey, Ray, how you doing, my friend? Welcome, welcome. Welcome from Malta. I mean, I'm in Malta. You're in Malta. Welcome to Malta. Well, you know what I mean. Linda Poole says, Belly Chocolate checks cereal bench working on the first video of Guess What I'm Building. Ooh. Can I guess? And if Dad hasn't asked the question, says Nim. No, we asked the question ages ago. Timothy Kalarko says, Altoids are called Marks and Spencer in the UK. No, Marks and Spencer is a shop. Marks and Spencer is a shop. It's just a tin of mints. This is about 10 years old, right? This is about 10 years old. It's had mints in it about 10 years ago. It's been in the kitchen drawer for about 9 years, and then I picked with some screws and nails in it. I picked it out and used it for my modelling purposes, and yet it still smells like mints. It still smells like small mints. It's got a delightfully minty smell. Oh yes, no, Marks and Spencer is a shop, like Walmart or Fry's or whatever. You know, Marks and Spencer is a shop. It's a grocery shop and whatever kind of thing. We don't have Altoids over here. Altoids is like a brand name of mints, isn't it? There's Marks and Spencer. This is just a tin of Marks and Spencer mints. Their own brand mints. Nim says, Bench is my Dungeons & Dragons human fighter shield maiden. Belly is some cheesy noodle melt hamburger helper. This sounds great. A potato sealer. Oh, George is in. Hey, George. Welcome, welcome. George Gabriel says, a potato peeler seems a little harsh. That's what I'm saying. If you cross the mods, the potato peeler comes out, and you don't want that. Why nobody ever crosses the mods. How you doing, George? Big hugs, big George hugs. Bench Dread Block Gangers, Belly Roast Chicken Lunch, says Wayne Hayward. Welcome, Wayne. The Reggie Modeler says, Bench Orcs mostly, Orc Boys, almost finished painting, Orc Black Reach War Boss, 3D printed Mad Mage, and Acererak the Lich. I had to read that carefully. Acererak the Lich, Belly Slice of Toast, more than a slice of toast. You need more than that. Adam, you need to eat. Have many slices of toast and perhaps put some things on the toast like marmalade or marmite or chocolate spread. Ooh, Nutella. Ooh, or some sort of meaty paste or whatever. Just put something on it. Put something on it. Many slices of toast. Instant coffee, ew, says Muse. I did see Speedy Q8, our friend Speedy Q8, who's a big coffee nerd. He did send me some bags of proper coffee, and I've got a squishy cafetiere thing. And I used it, and I do enjoy proper coffee and proper cafetiere coffee and stuff, but to be honest, I just can't be bothered. Just can't be bothered. Why would I want to do powder and this and that and leave it for 5 minutes and squishy and filter, and when I can just go hot water, I can just go coffee, milk, hot water, face. I'm far too lazy to do proper coffee. And their Egberts taste nice to me. I mean, look at that. Delightful. Aww. Yum, 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 yum. Actually, I made a terrible cup of coffee there. I got the balance wrong of milk and coffee, and it's too strong. Max McGinn's in. He says, I've ordered 2 tactical warsuits for my Say that again. I've ordered 2 tactical suits for my Raven Guard successor. I'm going to give them incinerator cannons for some flamage. Yes. And Common Road Junction's in, says, hey Fox. Hey Common Road Junction, how are you doing, my friend? Right. I swore I'd never paint Marines due to them being so simple. Now I'm trying to figure out what else to buy when the Warhammer shop is open tomorrow. Yeah. What you really want is some Deathcore of Krieg. Very expensive. Have fun painting them. So, as you remember, we are building the Prophecy of the Wolf Space Marines. And it's quite a simple set. It's a bit like that box set I showed you a minute ago. It's sadly not particularly Space Wolfy. They've just taken some bog standard Space Marines. And in this case, they've included Ragnar Blackmane, who is Space Wolf specific, because he's got his wolfy cloak and he's the leader of the Blackmane Great House. So you've got him. But other than that, these are just bog standard Space Marines. And they give you some decals for Space Wolves. But they give you the option to build them as either an Infiltrator squad or an Incursor squad. Now, I don't think these are available anywhere else on standalone boxes. I think these are specific to this box set, which doesn't exist anymore. It was only a limited release. So, yeah, anyway, I'm building them as Infiltrators because I like the idea of sneaky stealth times. I don't know the difference, but I'm assuming these are kind of sneaky stealth times. And these are more blowing things up and explodage. And they've got all these aerials, so I like these guys. So we're building the Infiltrators. Now I've built all the torsos. I have completed one dude, who is the Sergeant. I've built him. He's completely built. He's got all the bits on. I was halfway through doing the dude with the Pit Boy on his arm. So we'll finish doing him and then we'll carry on. So that's number 2. I'll see if I can get the camera a bit closer, perhaps. I just don't want the entire camera shot to be my entire, like, back of my hand. Zoom in, I mean, let's just focus a little bit. Yes, so we're building the this guy, who is the... who is he? He is the Infiltrator Comms Array. He's basically the guy with the box. He's got some kind of... It really does look like a Pit Boy on his arm, though. This is quite cool. So he's pointing at that. So I've got him there. He's done. I just need to add all his accessories to that. I like the way these Reaver-style armour on the legs, it kind of makes them look like they've got digitigrade legs, even though they haven't. It kind of gives them this slightly digitigrade look, which is quite cool. And I have to say, this Reaver-style armour, that isn't the full-on Space Marine armour. It's more like the Spec Ops Commando-style lightweight armour. I do like this Reaver-style armour. It's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Compared to the standard, Gravis armour, whatever it is. Anyway, let's crack on. Timothy says, the only thing I'm going to order from Forge World is the Lionel Johnson Primarch Mini. I have to tell you, I've started my Deathcore of Krieg and I've been buying troops of dudes off eBay. Pre-made, and I've got my Macarius Vanquisher and my Malcador Infernus tanks from Forge World. One was gifted to me and one I bought, and I've always said I'm not really going to get into Forge World because I don't like working with resin. Well, once I've built my 2 tanks that I've got, if I enjoy building them, I am considering more Forge World stuff, not the expensive things, because the thing is, like, the Malcador tanks are all like £100 each, all the Malcador variants, and the Macarius range of tanks, like the Vanquisher and the others, they're all about 120, 130 quid each. I'm like, yeah, I don't spend that. But there's a few tanks in there that are based on the plastic Chimera chassis. So it's the sides of the Chimera and the bottom of the hull, but then the bits on the top are resin. And I can't remember which ones they are, like the Armageddon pattern tank, I think. And they're only like 60 or 70 quid. So in the future, I might be looking at getting more Forge World tankage if I enjoy building the Vanquisher and the Infernus. If I hate every minute of them, then I won't be buying any more stuff from Forge World. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's a few tanks there, a few of the Lehman Russ variants that look quite nice. So we'll see. Because I'm building up my Imperial Guard army and I can use them either as that or the Space Wolves. So anyway. So we'll finish building this dude. So we've given him his weapon slung over his shoulder, which I have not drilled the barrel out. We'll do that. That's the first thing we'll do is bite the bullet. Investor 67's workshop says Forge World. Yeah. Colin, I know I've sent you there to look at orc stuff, but next time you go to Forge World, just do a search. Go into Warhammer 40,000 at the top and then click on Astra Militarum and just look at some of the tankage. The cheaper ones that are like 50 or 60 quid, they're usually part plastic, part resin. So they're only like 60s. It's like a Lehman Russ tank with resin bits. So they're a bit cheaper. But I really can't wait to start my Macarius Vanquisher. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't like working with resin unless the resin is nice and simple. I'm really hoping that my Vanquisher just needs a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of, you know, reshaping here and there. Because if I enjoy it, then going forward in the future, I would be open to buying more Forge World tanks and armoured vehicles. We'll see. Now I forgot to drill a hole in his barrel, and I've already glued his stuff to his arm, so I've got to now somehow drill his barrel out while it's mounted to him and without snapping it off. Yeah, I've kind of screwed the pooch on this one a bit. Let's just be perfectly honest here. A little bit of pooch screwing has occurred. And I'm going to do a little bit of where's my special? A little bit of stabitulation may occur. So prepare yourselves, folks. There may be some stabity here any minute now. Not really in the middle. Let's just go for it and not risk it. I've got to be conscious of all the little aerials on his head as well. Apologies if you can't really see much. My priority right now is getting the thing drilled and not what you can see. I just wish these drill bits had points on them. There's the GW ones, but they're not particularly pointy. Maybe too high up. I need to do this off camera really because I can't quite see where my drill bit is. Ugh. Right with the knife. I don't like doing the pilot hole with the knife because I invariably slip and gouge my entire finger off. There we go. Right, let's try that. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky time. Anyway, I hope everyone, how is everybody? I hope you're all well and having a good time. Hope everyone is happy and healthy. That was, oh, it's almost in the middle, but not quite. Almost, but not quite. Hope you're all having a good weekend, or you've all had a good weekend. Of course, like I said earlier, with me being sick all last week, there's no real updates to give you that I haven't given you already on yesterday's live stream or Fridays. The third and final episode of the Boom Daka, the Boom Bomb Blaster Boom Jet thing, the Orc Jet, that is now live up on my channel for my patrons and channel members. So if you're a patron or a channel member, if you're a channel member, head across to the members only playlist and it's there for you. You can watch it. Or if you're a patron, head over to patreon.com on the home page. There should be the little thumbnails at the top for various bits and bobs. One of them is for exclusive content. It's in there. Go and have a look in there. Or just do a tag search for exclusive. Exclusive, I think, is the tag. Okay, so I made a little bit of a mess of that, but it's not too bad. Trimming out the barrel. Trim out the barrel. That's looking a bit scruffy, so you know what we're going to do. We're going to get the lid off my glue for a start. Time to get the extra thin. Get most of the extra thin off. And just run it round the inside. Gets rid of all the fluffy, bunny, fuzzy bits. Like that bit there on the muzzle brake. Just dissolves away all the fluffy bits and leaves you the nice smooth barrel. Lovely. I do need to glue it to his arm because it's not quite fixed properly. A little bit weak there. It just kind of hangs under his arm, and ideally you've got his arm at the right angle for it to glue to his arm. Oh, that's that bit done. What's next? Where are we? Few pots in, says, hello people, are we good and keeping well? We are, thank you very much. Psycho the Fish is in, welcome Psycho the Fish. Are we? Dad, can you move a few centimetres to the right? I can't see the stream from the tag, says Psycho the Fish. Psycho the Fish is in Dad's, I can't get my words out, Jesus, right. Coffee. That's a fish tank. George says, you'll love the Infernus. Jar Jar demands it. He does. Yes, the Infernus, the Malcador Infernus I've got was a wonderful, wonderful Secret Santa gift from George. He was my Secret Santa one year and sent me the Malcador Infernus, which is an insane Secret Santa because they're not cheap. And that was very nice. There's basically 3 types of tank on Forge World for Imperial Guard, for Astra Militarum. There's the Macarius pattern, which is like the Vanquisher and some variants, and which looks like a very big, massive battle tank. Massive big tank. You've got the Malcadors, which are kind of a throwback from the Horus Heresy. They're very World War I looking. The Macarius look very World War II. The Malcadors look very World War I. They're smaller. They're more like small. They're a bit like the Whippet tank. It's kind of like that. They're a bit like that. They're kind of cool and simple and vintage looking. And the Infernus is basically a Malcador tank with a great big flamethrower, and it carries a trailer behind it, which is the fuel tank for the flamethrower. It's basically a flamethrower on tracks, which is awesome. And then the other variants are the ones based on the Chimera chassis, and there's also some Lehman Russ ones as well. But yeah, the 2 main are Macarius and Malcador, so I've got both of those. But massive thank you to George. I like the quad mortar batteries they have in Forge World, says Max McGinn. Yeah, I like the they are the one. Yeah, they're ones. I know the one you mean. The quad thud gun, I think it is, isn't it? They've got the individual mortar guns, 3 squad, and then they've got the quad things. Cool. Use a Dremel, says George. No. Ian's car says, on the bench, painting up a Hellbrute and 2 obliterators and fatigue meatballs and basmati rice. Oh yes. Reggie Model says he's just put on the base codes for Asa Rarak, just as a bit of a break from the Orcs, so I don't get burnt out with them. I don't do the stabby finger thing anymore, says Panzer, but I do insist of soldering PE whilst holding it in my fingers. Yeah, I think even I might do that once and then not again. Has anyone thought on Mr. Cement Deluxe versus Tamiya Extra Thin? I've never used it. Mr. Hobby stuff is not... You can get it over here. It's fairly common, but it's not as common as most places sell Tamiya, but they wouldn't always sell Mr. Hobby. I've never tried it. If you can get Tamiya Extra Thin, you don't need to go wrong with that. There's no way you can go wrong with that, really. Psycho the Fish is saying hello to Sarah Jane with fish blushes. Wait, you made Psycho the Fish blush? Is that even possible? I don't think that's possible. Because I don't think anything will make Psycho the Fish blush. Not that he can't blush, but I don't think anything will make him. Anyway, let's crack on and do some work. So we've got this guy partially assemblated. I love it. I don't know if you'll see it on camera, but he's got this fantastic over-engineered helmet. He's got like a Primaris sort of helmet, but he's got extra bits and all this like bit round the top. He looks like a Cyberman. Delete. He's surfing for prawns on. He's like, oh no, delete. So he's got a kind of Cyberman look to him. And these aren't actually... They're not actually Primaris style helmets. They're like... I can't remember what the Reavers look like, but they're kind of partly like a Reaver helmet. They're quite cool. But unfortunately, sadly, aside from Ragnar Blackmane, there's nothing about these guys at all that makes them Space Wolfy. They don't have specific Space Wolves livery or icons. Well, they've got a couple of icons, but that you can stick on. I need to sneeze. Hang on. Oh, that clears the sinuses. Oh, no, I wouldn't have done that a week ago without having to rush to the toilet just to be safe. Oh, there must be some dust in here. Hey, because I'm tired. Yeah, there's nothing about these guys that makes them specifically Space Wolfy. They're just Reavers. You've got a couple of icons you can stick on, and you've got some water slide decals. So if I had bought this kit, I mean, I bought these guys off Simon, but if I bought this specifically for Space Wolves, I would have been a little disappointed that all the guys have just got either bald heads or Mohicans or full helmets. They've not got like ridiculous Viking hair or beards, which is a bit rubbish. When you look at the other set, the battle set, the Start Collecting set, at least they've got like some beardy braids and Viking hair going on. It's like, it's a bit of a cop-out. It's this new Space Wolf set. Are they really Space Wolves? No, we just give you some decals. Okay. Right, do some work, Bob. Shut up. Ooh, burpage. You know how you now said that, Fox? Yeah, it does look like kind of a Cyberman helmet. It does, I like it. Right. The entire Mr. Hobby line is good, says Muse, and EC says, thank you, I can't get Tamiya locally anymore. Just Mr. Cement. Weird how you can't get Tamiya, because, like, Tamiya is one of those things that most people would actually probably stock, you would have thought. But hey. Right, so we need to add... oh dear, it's a backpack time. It's backpack time. This is where Simon stops watching, if he's watching. I need... Look at the part number, Fox. It's always the best way to do it. 61, 62, and 53. Well, that's all 30s on there, so that's no use. 61. 62 is a small radar dish. Oh, these are all wonderful sticky out parts that are all going to break when they're in transport cases. Oh, yeah. 2 and what did I need? 53, which is and backpack. 50. Do. Yes, so no real news to update you with. Like I said, I've been sick most of this week. Like I say, episode 3 is now up for patrons and for channel members. So if you're one of those, do go and check it out. I will be starting, hopefully tomorrow, on the final episode of the Tabletop Trauma Centre Lehman Russ. Hopefully. And then once that is done, I do not know what the next project will be. There's me mark. There's me mark. Hang on. More in the middle time space now, and then I cover it up so I can't see it. Brilliant. Well done, Fox. Yes, I don't know what I'm doing after that. Not decided yet. Not made the decision. Khajiit has not decided what the next project will be. I should consult with Akatosh. Okay, so I can go over there. Let's put that back on there because I'll lose it otherwise. So be slightly tidy in here and put things in places. Need a little bit of clean up itch. Yeah, I haven't quite decided yet what comes after that Lehman Russ. There's so many things I could start. Oops. But it'd need to be something that I build, obviously, first and then paint. So, but as I'm in the middle of building all these Space Wolves on the Warhammer Sunday stream, it might be something that I build of an extra live stream. Because what I'm tending to do now is, instead of actually including the build part in a video, because I used to film the building part of it, but being brutally honest, I don't need to teach anyone how to glue two things together. It's not that hard. Like when I do the resin stuff, the Forge World stuff, of course I'm going to film the build for that because I need to show people how to work with resin and how to glue it together and how not to do it because I'm going to mess it up. But when it's a plastic kit, I don't need to spend a week filming a 45-minute episode that's just me gluing some things together. That's kind of a waste of time. So what I'll probably do, Warhammer Sundays, of course, is when I'm building my general Warhammer stuff, whatever I'm doing at the time, for future painting. So all the stuff I build on Warhammer Sundays will get painted up in build series, in, painting guide series. But if I want to work on something that I'm not currently building on Sundays, I could maybe do those in live streams. And it may be that I drop a Fallout Friday stream at some point, perhaps, and do a bit of a buildy stream instead. Or it'll be something that I build when I do my Friday live stream with Colin over midnight on Friday. I put a big ding in that now. I put a little ding in his radar dish, his radar thing, his communications antenna. Oh, that was not supposed to happen. That's at the end of the world. I can sand it back. But yeah, so it is a tricky thing. It may just be that I go through my box of things, what I have already built, and see what needs painting. or I might start on something. And really, when I get that Lehman Russ sorted, I need to go for whatever interests me and whatever tickles my fancy. Because this last year, with everything that's gone on this last year, it has been, I think all of us have had a bit of a hit to our mojo. The best intentioned of us have all had a bit of a hit to our mojo, so it really is important right now, and I can't stress this enough. If I've got the itchy nose. Hang on. If you struggled over the last year with mojo and stuff because of everything that's been going on, then for the time being, until you're fully back up to mojo speed, my strongest recommendation is not to put any thought at all into what your project is. Whatever you think, right, what shall I build next? Don't think about it. Don't give it any thought whatsoever. Quite simply, look at your stash, and the first thing that you think, oh, I could do that, the first thing that jumps out at you, build that. And if you lose interest in it after a little while, stop, put it back in the box, and go back to the pile and see what jumps out to you. Don't think about it. Otherwise, you'll never get back to doing anything. We've all struggled a bit over the last year, and it's not really a situation where we can be all finicky now about what do I want to build. Well, I don't really want to do that one, but I don't know about this one, and that one might take too long, and this, just do it. The most important thing is getting your mojo back. You know, when you've not ridden a bike for 30 years and somebody lends you their bicycle and you're like, crap, I haven't ridden a bike for 30 years. This is a true story. Because you know, let's say for example, you haven't ridden a bike in 30 years and you don't suddenly have a car because your car has to go off and get scrapped, but you need to get about, and you can't afford a new car, but you can maybe afford a bicycle. Yeah. And you haven't ridden a bike in 30 years. The first thing you do is you spend an hour going round your block, round and round, just getting used to riding on a bike and falling off onto the hard pavement a few times before you actually go out onto public highways. Same with the model making. If your mojo's gone, especially if it's been a long time and you've not been in the zone at all, don't dive into something that's going to burn you out, or that you're going to get bored of within 5 minutes. Or something, if you look at something and go, well, I don't really want to do it, but I've got to do something. That's not the right answer. You really want to just focus on getting the passion back. So just build whatever tickles your fancy when you look at the stash. Don't give any thought. Like the first thing that goes, oh, I like that one, then do it. You might get it completed. You might get a bit way through and get bored and then move on to something else. That's fine. All that matters is you're not thinking. You're just catering to your desire to do the hobbying. All that matters. You're feeding the urge. And then before you know it, you'll have done that, finished that one, you'll be on to the next one, and you'll just be back into the saddle by then. Back into the saddle. I would recommend, don't go back to one you're in the middle of doing a year ago. Put that to one side and wait till you get the urge. Just pick out the first thing. And if it just means something simple, just to get you back in gently, that's fine. If the most thought you give it is, I don't want anything too complicated, just something simple, then go through your stash and split them into easy stuff and complicated stuff. And then just look at the easy stuff and say, what should I do? Which one's leaping out at me? Even if it's just the one that looks the coolest. Because you want to capture that enthusiasm in a little jar, and hug it as much as possible until it's just the normal feeling again. So that's why you want to just grab the first kit that takes your interest. Get it, put it in a jar, mother it till it dies. No, don't do that. And just, there you go. Because I've done it before, you know, you get out of the zone for a while, a few months here and there, whatever, and when you decide it's time to go back, you overthink. You think, well, what should I do? Should I do this one? It's a bit too involved. Should I do that one? Oh, I don't know. I want to do it, but at the same time, I don't really fancy doing this bit of it and that bit of it. And you overthink it, and then before you know it, you've spent a week trying to figure out what you want to do, and you've lost the mojo again. So don't. Just look at the pictures on the boxes and say which one looks kick-ass. And of course, the correct answer is Baneblade, of course. So just you could just shortcut it and just get a Baneblade, which is always the correct answer. Let's just be perfectly honest. I've got to tell you, looking at some of those tanks on Forge World, some of the armor for the Astra Militarum, it certainly has scratched an itch. Even though I've not built those other 2 tanks yet, it certainly is there going, you could get the the big Armageddon Demolisher, or whatever it is, which is just a Chimera with a dirty, great big gun on it. And it looks very German World War II. And it's probably really simple to build because the only resin parts are literally the upper hull and the turret. The rest of it's all plastic Chimera kit. It's like, I could. I'm feeling a bit of a temptation that I've never really I've looked at deathcore stuff, and if you filter the search on Forge World by deathcore, you see lots of Lehman Russ pattern tanks, and you see the Malcadors and the Macaris, but you don't necessarily always see the other bits, like the Chimera pattern ones, and some of the tempted as well by some of the flyers. Like some of the Imperial flyers. Ooh. They just look quite cool. And I'm like, but I know it's resin, and I know I'm going to have sadness and swearing. Because I'm not an expert at resin. I don't enjoy it. We'll see. We'll see. It's all very expensive anyway. Right now, at the moment, I'm trying not to buy more stuff because I've got a big enough stash right now. I need to not spend all that money. So it's not anything that's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe later in the year when I've got some spends. And I've experienced Forge World tankage through my Macarius and my Malcador. And start thinking about that. I also need to put time into actually finishing an army at some point. So we're all buying all these buying all these tanks from my Deathcore army that I've not even painted yet. Right, let's have a quick look at chat before we glue these on. Blade. Where are we up to? Mayhem says, Fox is now on Big Telly. Big Telly, massive finger of pointing. Big Telly. He's looking at you through your big telly, look. You could have at least put some underwear on. Or if you got on, you could at least put some pants on, you know what I mean? Honestly, I don't know. Where are we up to? I got several nice things for myself from Amazon with Dad's credit card, says Psycho the Fish. Wendy Hickson's in. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I hope you are all keeping well. Welcome, Wendy. Thank you for coming along. Sarah Jane asks Psycho if he ordered himself some waterproof cameras for sneaky behind-the-scenes shots of Dad's. Yes. That'd be cool. Eon's Card says there's this Primaris Space Wolf upgrades, and I think there are some accessories on the upgrade sprue. Yes, there are. You can get upgrade sets for old Space Marines and for Primaris, and they're just upgrade sets for Space Wolves. And what they do is they give you a selection of heads with like ponytails and braids and stuff and beards. And they give you some little sigils and insignias and stuff and bits and bobs that you can stick on bog standard Space Marines to make them more Space Wolfy. Alternative chest pieces and things like that. I think you can get them from Primaris as well as these. In this set, you don't get that at all. You just get these dudes. It's a shame, really. In that box set I showed you, in the Combat Patrol, which you can't see because the camera's in, you basically get, if I remember right, it's basically 5. What do you get? You get 10 Primaris Intercessors, which are the bog standard Primaris Intercessors. You get 5 Primaris Reavers, which you can't see because the camera's in the wrong place. You get 5 Primaris Reavers, which are bog standard Primaris Reavers. You get the Invicta Tactical Warsuit, which is the bog standard Invictus Tactical Warsuit. The only Space Wolf specific things you get are 1, you get Space Wolf Lieutenant Haldor Ice Pelt, who's there, and you get 2 of the Space Wolves upgrade sprues. That's it. So what they need to do over time, hopefully, is start making more Space Wolves specific figures and minis. Because right now all they're doing is they're using the same old intercessors and reavers and that kind of stuff, and just offering you things to stick on them to make them like Space Wolves. It'd be nice if they started releasing, like, can we get Primaris Space Wolf Thunderwolves cavalry? That'd be fantastic. Or, you know, Primaris other bits and bobs. We'll see. Hopefully they will in time, because they know Space Wolves are popular. So, but we're happy to work with what we've got so far. Where are we up to? Looking at the Space Wolves upgrade sprue, there ain't much in the way of accessories on them, says Eons. Yeah, they're not that great. They're just bits and bobs. Sarah Jane's trying to get Psycho the fish to post up pictures from Dad's fish tank, or his fish tank. Panzer says, I'd hate to be in your shoes, Psycho, when or in your flippers when Dad's credit card wallops onto the floor. And Psycho says, it's just the back of Dad's head mostly. He blocks my view on purpose. Oh, Chris is in. Hey, Chris Models. Welcome. You've deigned to visit us, have you? Mr. I've not been in people's streams for the last few days. I see. You've come to join the little people. I'm only joking. Hello, fish. Are you behaving today? Says Gross Models. He's never behaving. Way up to. But yes, welcome, Chris. Welcome. Thank you for coming in. Looked at the overall Space Wolf sprues. Only the Grey Hunters have a good amount of accessories. Yep, true. Basically just the paint job more than anything else. Fox, you're also right on that. I'm always overthinking to the point where I change my mind, then don't end up doing anything easily done model making guru. I am exactly the same way with weathering. I've been doing this for 40 years, and even I get to the point where on every single build, I'll get to the point where I've done all the painting, everything's assembled, it's time to start the weathering. And I always start with the chipping. And then production stops for like a few days. Because I sit there and think, right, I'm going to do this, and I do this colour in there, and put that there, and then if I do this first, but I need to put that wash over, so I need to do that before I do this, and then if I put that on, but then if I do that, I can't do this, and then if I do that coat there, how am I going to keep that shiny when everything else is matted? And then what if I put that colour? Will that colour work with that colour, or will that colour look? And then I start overthinking it. And a week's gone by, and I've not stopped. And that's what happened with this. With this thing. The Tabletop Trauma Centre Lehman Russ. I got most of the painting done. And I got to the weathering stage, and then I had my little thing of I started to overthink everything, and then it stopped, and then I had to do other stuff. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to work on next week. It's at the chipping stage. So when a build stops for me, it's always at the chipping stage. It falls over because I start overthinking. So I'm not immune from it. Nobody's immune from it. But at least I can try and help you try and avoid it. Psycho the Fish. How do you get the attention of a beautiful farm girl? That's Dad. Dad's not a beautiful farm girl, Psycho the Fish. You need to get some glasses. La 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 la. Anyway, let's move on. So we've got the backpack bits done. Nice and simple. Simple and nice. So we've got to glue on the backpack. Little aerial piece here. Because they've got these extra little aerials that go in. Like that, you'll see. And then we've got the radar, or the sort of transmitter dish as well. How does that go on? Oh, I see, like that. Like that, you'll see. Goes like that. Okay. Well, what we'll do, we'll glue the backpack on first. We'll glue this bit on. We'll glue the backpack on first, because that gives us a stable point at which we can glue other things, or rather than fiddle around with tiny little pieces. That's over there. This is going slowly. I do appreciate I'm going really slowly with this than I'd normally do. I normally don't quite do figures quite this slowly. I appreciate this. But these are the ones I bought from Simon, and Simon's a painting god, so yeah. Simon spends a whole day just cleaning up a backpack before painting it. And so I'm trying to pay it forward and pay some respects to Simon's talents. Oh, by dropping it. By not rushing through it and taking my time. So I'm not anywhere near Simon's level. Just don't even begin to think that. Leave these out of the way. I never will be. But I can honour him. Doff my cap to him by doing my best. Because I have to give these extra tender loving care and building assembly, because how many people can say, when they put their pieces on the table, how many people can sit there and say, I bought these from a Golden Demon winner? Not many people. So I don't intend on rushing these. I intend on them being nicely done, nicely built, nicely painted. Although they're not painted or built by a Golden Demon winner, at least say I bought them from. And then I can say, who's my mate? And that's even a bit of a name drop. And then I can be like, yeah, you see, I know a Golden Demon winner. And I'm not actually that sad. Let's just be honest. I'm only joking. But I think it's nice to just take the time with them. Simon has breathed upon these and touched them with his dainty, painty hands. And therefore, I shall do my level best to have completely left that seam line down the side of that aerial. Fantastic. We'll sort that later. Sigh. I shall do my best to make them look fantabulous. Only the best will doodle do. I'm looking forward to painting that little screen. I know how I'm going to do it. So next we have the little communications thing. Oh, I didn't turn notifications off, did I? Hang on, let me turn notifications off because that could get a bit embarrassing. What was that? Oh, it was a mail from Fallout Hobbies. Let me just quickly turn me... Oh, I can smell food downstairs. So y'all have missed a chance now. You only wanted to send me messages while I was live on telly and it would have popped up on screen, but no, you've missed it now. You've missed your chance. There you go. Home again, jiggity jig. Colin at Best of 67's workshop says, get your simple and nice here. Free for a pound, free for a pound. Simple and nice, free for a pound. Okay, so we need to get this little communications dish on there. So he can pick up his Sky Sports because he's a chud. And that needs to somehow go on there in a way that isn't going to make me use swear words. I may require the tweezers of holdage. Tweezers of holdage, they are required. This is going to get sweary now, isn't it? Because tweezers never end well. Because you don't have the leverage. You don't always have the angle of dangle. Oh, it worked. We are happiness. All your base are belong to us. That's his little... That's got a meaty backpack with all the antennas and dish on it and stuff. That's kind of cool. I like that. Great fun to paint that, I think. Much fun will be had painting these. So when it comes to painting these guys, again, because of the legacy from Simon, I think we'll make sure that instead of just being grunt fruit paint job levels, like obviously we're going to paint Ragnar Blackmane Spankulatory. He's going to have the most fantastic paint job you can imagine because he's a named character. But I think we'll make all the other guys kind of look good as well. We'll actually put some effort in. So we'll put, I've not finished him yet. Give me coffee. Yum. Ugh, that's terrible coffee. I made a bad coffee. Where are we up to? Max McGinn says, what colour scheme are you going for your Space Wolves? For your Space Foxes, he says. It'll be the standard Space Wolf scheme. I may vary the colour up a little bit and maybe be a little bit bluer than normal or a little bit greyer. I don't know yet if I'll use the official Games Workshop colour scheme or I'll go slightly tint. But it'll be standard Space Wolf colours. It'll be, because I've got Ragnar Blackmane there. See, I'm kind of tied in now. Because I've got Ragnar Blackmane, there's no point me doing a different Great House other than Ragnar Blackmane's Great House, which is the yellow with the black wolf head. There's no point me doing any of the other Great Houses because I've got him. Now, it hasn't popped up on screen. I don't know why. But there is a super chat in there. Psycho the Fish. You can see it. I don't call it out when it appears on here because it appears up in the corner here after about 30 seconds, but I don't know why it hasn't. Is that because alerts are turned off again? Yes. God damn it, software. Why do you randomly turn things on?
Slap it on.
Like, turn things off like my TED wasn't on then. Hang on. What's going on here?
Slap it on.
Right, stop TEDing. Hang on a minute. I've also got button issues. And my buttons have gone to sleep anyway. I'm gonna have to have a look at this. It's weird. It just randomly turns off bits of my streams, like overlays and stuff. Anyway, yes. So massive thank you to Psychofish, who says, courtesy of Dad's MasterCard, and puts $5 through. So thank you very much, Psychofish, for totally unofficially using Dad's MasterCard. Is Ted alive yet? He's still falling asleep. No. My buttons are asleep. Let me reset my buttons. Hang on. Technical happiness. Technical happiness is something I will never achieve. Clearly. Close that down. And we will open it up again. I can smell my slow cooker downstairs. Ooh, it smells good. And then chat resets itself. I don't quite know why chat did that. All the technical shenanigans are going on.
Slap it on.
Stop tedding. Honestly. Oh, going back home if you keep doing this. Right. Do that and that. Make sure Ted is off. Make sure it works.
Slap it on.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. It's just bizarrely Streamlabs sometimes decides to just switch off overlays with no warning. Anyway, yes. So thank you, Psycho the Fish, for your little $5 super chat. Don't forget, folks, if you are watching this, there's 47 of you, probably 45 of you watching right now or something. If you're watching this, there is a live chat. There's a sort of minute delayed live chat archive there that's fallen over. But there is a live chat, and the whole point of this show is to you guys to hang out in chat. So do come and join the live chat on YouTube. If you're watching it embedded somewhere like Twitter or Facebook, click the little YouTube icon in the bottom right-hand corner. That will take you to the YouTube page where you can carry on watching, and you can also join in the live chat. Now, I've got my little lenses on, so I can't see anything more than about 3 inches from front of me. If you're in the chat, please do get my attention. Ask me questions, talk to me about stuff. But if you want to get my attention, please consider putting your comment in big capital letters so I have a chance to see it. Otherwise, I won't, because it's all a blur. Or if you want to, you can do like Psycho Fish did, a super chat, which is a great way to not only get my attention instantaneously, but also to help support the channel, because it does support the channel very nicely. Right, 78 is a bolt pistol holster. I'm sorry, but there's no way that bolt pistol fits in that holster. No. They didn't design that very well. There's the holster. And there's the pistol that goes in it. Yeah, no. I don't think so. Sniffles. I'm waiting for the tweezer ping. Thankfully not with big bits. Scaly's model says, Psycho, you are driving me mad. Lol. I don't know who Psycho the Fish actually is, you know. It's quite funny. I'm surprised Scaly Models could navigate between YouTube with handles. We thought at first it was just Dad, but the thing is it's paying in dollars. So it's not Dad, is it? So we don't know who Psycho the Fish is. At least I don't know anyway. Yeah, Dad's in the UK, so whoever is Psycho the Fish is not in the UK. We assume it's American dollars. It could be Australian dollars, or it could be Hong Kong dollars, or anywhere that uses dollars. Technical happiness, the art of wielding a lump hammer on anything remotely electronic. It's all part of my plan to escape the tank and conquer the world, says Psycho Fish. Just don't worry, Dad. Eventually he'll get his own YouTube channel, and then you'll be in trouble. Right. Let's clean up this pauldron and this little holster. Sidearm holster. Sidearm. It's a bit like side boob, but not in any way as much as interesting to look at. I don't know where that came from. That's only one little nub connection. Nub connection. Thankfully, all the pauldrons. One good thing for Games Workshop: 99% of the time, not every time, but 99% of the time, they do connect the pauldrons to the sprue on the underside of the actual pauldron trim, which is very nice of them to do that because it's very easy to clean up without it being visible to anyone. Yeah, I can smell the slow cooker from downstairs. Tonight's dinner will be very simple because we've run out of veggies. Need to order some more. So tonight's dinner, it's a slow cook, and it's quite simply, we've got 2 little gammon joints. They're not actually full on like round cylindrical gammon joints. They're weird. They're like little. They're like the size of a haggis. It's like about that big. It's a little blob of gammon. It's not like a proper joint. It's weird. We've got 2 of those, which combined together is about the size of a gammon's. So we've got 2 of those little things in the slow cooker with a big bag of frozen casserole vegetables, because that's all we had. Big bag of frozen, I think it's onions, leeks, turnips, carrots. I think that's it. Onion leeks, turnip and carrots. Big bag of those. And then we've got, what did I throw in? I put in some, I just had to go with what we've got because we're running low on supplies at the minute. To that I added, of course, lots of hot water, but I added 4 great big heaped spoonfuls of Bisto onion gravy powder. I think 5 or 6 great big heaped tablespoons full of Bisto chicken gravy powder. I added an entire sachet of some kind of chicken marinade, which I don't know what it is, I just put it in. You powder your sprinkle on your meat and then you put it in the oven or the grill or whatever. I don't care, I'm just experimenting. I put all of that in, that's quite a big packet. I then added a significant amount of Worcestershire sauce by accident. I didn't intend to add quite as much as I did. A reasonable significant amount of dark soy sauce, Kikkoman dark soy sauce. I added some not particularly strong, reasonably mild, but not quite too mild chili sauce. A tiny touch of cayenne chili pepper. Some paprika, some of this weird salt stuff that's got a specific name and I can't remember what it's called now. It's weird, it's like a seasoning kind of thing. Some rosemary, some thyme, some tiny amount of cumin. A big couple of spoonfuls of mustard. What else did I put in? A generous helping of runny honey. Got the jar and went bleh, and poured it in, and then spent 20 minutes trying to get the little dribble of honey up back into the jar without making a mess. What else? I think that's it. Probably some other bits and bobs I put in there. And that's when I woke up late, unfortunately. I allowed myself to be treated to a lie-in this morning, so I was going to start it off at 9 o'clock this morning, but I didn't. So it started off at midday, so hopefully by about 8 tonight it should be slow cooked to perfection. Be ready to go into my entire face. I hope. It's smelling divine right now. Because I can do slow cooking because I'm rubbish at cooking. I can do simple things like, if I can combine and coordinate, like take something from a tin, put it in a pan, warm it up. I can do that. I can make chips. I can do anything that comes from a pan. A tin in a pan or a packet, whatever. I can make pasta, and I can make like a mean spag bowl because it's just putting things in a frying pan and smushing them around with some heat on. It's not complicated. I can't do proper cooking where I'm coordinating 6 different things in the oven, and I've made a beef Wellington and I've got pastry. I can't do all that nonsense. If the entire cooking process is put it into something, set the heat to this, and go away and play Skyrim for 45 minutes. That's my cooking process. I can do that happily. I can do that. And slow cooking is literally just get some things, put them in this pot, turn it on, go and play Skyrim for the next 7 hours. I can do that. That's quite handy. Thank you very much. Done. There you go. Nice and shiny. I can do a bit of a slow cook, but that's about it. The weird thing is, it's like baking bread. Slow cooking's the same. It never tastes as good as it smells, if you know what I mean. Like, I will spend all day now sitting here smelling the delicious smells coming from the kitchen. And in my mind, I'm having somewhat unsavory thoughts about the slow cooking food I'm going to get later on. Kind of like culinary trouser tent time. I'm like going, oh, I'm having thoughts now. But I know in reality, when I get it, it'll just be like, it's all right. Oh, it smells much better than it will be when I actually get around to eating it, which is a shame. But I bet you're all really hungry now, aren't you? Right, I think that is this guy done. He hasn't got lots of extra bits. He's just literally got his sidearm. That's it. So we've done the sergeant. He's there. We've done him, the comms officer. Or the dude with comms array. Where's my pen? Yeah, where's my Sharpie? Come on, I need to mark this now with my Sharpie. Where are you? There you are. I tried to acquire you there. Right, so that can go there. He can go there. So we've done that guy. We've done the comms array. I like to mark off what I've done, otherwise I will just forget. So we've done both of those pages. So now it's step number, cashier number 9, please. Step number 9. And I think now we're just onto the generic hoi polloi type dudes. Nothing special about these, they're just generic blurks. We'll get these done. So we need some parts. So there you go, that's him done. Comms array dude and sergeant dude. I don't need to write on the base that he's a comms array dude. I've written on there that he's the sergeant. Just so when it comes to painting later on, I know he's the sergeant. And I know he is anyway, but if I want to give him a specific marking to show him as a rank. So, quick chat. Dad's saying he's not Psycho the Fish. Saying he's either most likely that or the other git, Paul. It won't be Paul again, because Paul's in the UK and Psycho's paying in dollars. So, not actually possible to set up a US. Or is it? Proof that Psycho the Fish really does drive Dad round the twist. People are talking about Psycho the Fish again. Come the Fisholution, you'll all know Psycho the Fish. Oh, hello, Burkage. Dad says, I will put only one on the opposite side of the door to the room that you're in, Eric, and close it. I don't know what that's relating to. Twisted Rail Hobbies is in, Ericsson. Welcome. Oh, I see. He says, I wouldn't know what to do with 2 totally different handles. And Dad says, I put one on opposite sides of the door. Wayne Ward says, Fox, question, do you always finish the gluage before any painting? Sniffle nose. Yes, as much as I possibly can. The best thing you can do when you're building anything from a vehicle to a mini to anything like that is to do as much of the building first, because if you fully paint something, let's say I fully painted all this before I glued the cape on the back, for example, the cowl or the backpack, you are guaranteed that you'll fully paint it, you'll go to glue the thing on that you've just fully painted, and you'll get like that and slip, or you'll get glue running down and you'll ruin the paint job. There's no point. Golden rule is always to assemble as much as you can in sub-assemblies before you get to the painting. I'm not even on camera. Right, before you get to the painting. So, for example, this guy, he's completely fully assembled apart from Bonds. I've not stuck his head on because he's got quite a detailed head and he's a character. So he will get a better paint job than anybody else. So I've kept his head separate because I can stick that on a pin and I can paint that and then glue it on. Now, when I do glue it on, the risk is, when you're gluing 2 things together, like I say, if you go crazy with the glue, you might make a mess of the paint job. But the beauty with him is the head has got like a bulb underneath it, so I can put a tiny touch of glue on that. It's not going to go anywhere near the face. In here is generally just generic armor color anyway, or black. So when it comes to gluing it together, I can leave no paint here. I can leave that paint free or scrape the paint away. I can scrape a little bit of paint off the bottom of his neck and just go plonk with a tiny touch of glue, and then I can run some extra thin in the little gap. If you can very carefully run extra thin into gaps when there's paint there. I've done it before, you can do it, but it's always a risk. But I should be all right, because where the glue will go is hidden away in his neck, and you can't really see it. So there's not much damage I can do to the paint job when I glue his head on. But I wouldn't, for example, glue his cape or his arm on or anything like that after painting, because they're quite fiddly and you've got to position them. For people like these, it would be entirely possible that I could paint his backpack separately and glue it on later, because you could put the little touch of glue on there and on the back and stick it on. It's probably going to be all right, but I don't mind painting it on the back because it's all going to be one colour anyway, apart from the details and stuff. I can get to everything. The trick is knowing when you can and can't do that. Drink a coffee. The trick you learn over time is to look at a guy and think, for example, this guy. You might look at him and think, well, I've glued him all together. I can get to his head, I can get to his arm, I can get to the symbol on his chest, I can get under there just about, I can get to all the bits of armour that I need to, I can get under there, I can get to his belt to paint it, I can get to the undersuit to paint that, I can get to his arm, I can access that. The only thing that would give you pause might be, how do I paint the other side of the bolt rifle? How can I get in there? Well, the trick is, the bolt rifle is usually two colours, silver and black. And it's quite easy to get in there with the brush to paint the lead belcher on the bolter. And then you can do the black later. You paint the black bit. The lead belcher bit, the silver bit's not too bad. But what you do is, things like that where it's a weapon, you could theoretically, I could have just left that arm off and not glued it on and then painted the weapon happily. But it was a bit tricky getting his arm in the right place, and there was a bit of wiggle backwards and forwards. I needed to glue the weapon to his chest. If everything had been painted, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm confident that I can get in there and paint that with a brush. For example, what I might do is paint him the base colour, then go in and paint, because I'll paint all the base colour for like the armour. Then I'll paint the lead belcher for the weapon and all the other lead belcher bits. And when I'm painting the lead belcher bit in there, I might get some of his armour. But then I can go back in and touch it up with the armour colour and fix that. And then when it comes to painting the black bit, I can quite easily get a brush in there to paint the black bit. So you learn to assess and gauge. I can most likely get a brush in there to paint the black part of the armour. But again, when you're doing all the base colours, of course, it's only when it's painting the base colours that gets tricky. When it comes to putting anything else on this weapon, it's all shades and washes. You can get all shades and washes in there, no problem. I can access it. When you're just painting the base colours, if I want to paint the black undersuit in there and I get some on the blue armour, I just paint the blue armour, tidy it up with the blue. So you learn to look at things and see, can I paint this in place or do I need to glue it on later? To the point where I now can quite happily have a guy with a weapon across his chest. I can still get to his chest to paint the Aquila and paint the weapon. And there's also another little golden rule that says, if you can't see it, nobody else can see it, don't worry about it. If you're building stuff to play on the tabletop, it doesn't matter if, for example, for example, let's just say I paint the lead belcher for the weapon, but maybe I can't get the brush right down the back there to paint the bit of black casing that goes against his chest. Doesn't matter. I can't see it from here. Nobody else is going to see it from 3 feet on a table. As long as you've got like a shade over the weapon and it kind of hides it. Sometimes there's battles you're not going to choose to pick to fight, because sometimes there is the golden rule of, if you can't see it, or if it's really hard to see that detail, don't worry about painting it. Because what your eye does, if you paint most of that weapon and the bit that's round the back you can't quite see, but it's got the same general tone and you've got shades going over the whole thing, it kind of hides it. So you generally tend to learn where to put your sub-assemblies. Vehicles is a similar kind of thing. For example, now this isn't an option for me because this was already assembled when I got it. But if I was painting this, for example, if I built this from scratch, I probably would build it that much, because I can get to everything. Some people build it with the tracks off. There's no point. You can easily paint the tracks when they're in situ. So you gradually learn what you can sub-assemble and what you don't need to. Like I glued the weapons in here, these rifles in the back, these las guns. I glued those in. I didn't make this. I bought this off eBay pre-made, but I did some bits. I glued the las guns in there and the spade and the shovel. I know it's not in focus, but I knew quite happily that once they were glued in, I can easily get to them and paint them. I can easily get to that rucksack. Now, can I get to the whole of the casing of those las rifles and paint them that blue-grey colour? No, I can't get quite down the side there, but nobody can see down the side there, so it doesn't matter. As long as they've got the general colour and hints of metal, and then the shade fills in any gaps, nobody will know. So you gradually get to learn. It's always best to keep sub-assemblies. If you think something's going to be difficult to paint once it's in place, maybe see if you can sub-assemble it. If there's a risk that when you try and glue something together, you ruin the paint job because you've got glue everywhere, then assemble it first. If you're building, for example, Tempestus Scions, they have two-part arms. They have the forearm and the upper arm. There's no way you can glue those two together and get the weapons all lined up in both arms and have the cables from the weapon go to the backpack without making a mess of glue. Even I struggle and I have to put glue on them and move them around. You can't do that when they're painted. So Tempestus Scions, with all the will in the world, you cannot do Tempestus Scions without gluing all the arms on first, because you've got to get them all lined up and it's a fiddly thing and you'll just ruin your paint job. So you get to learn slowly anyway. You'll get an instinct for it. Sarah Jane says, Fox, instead of gluing the head, you use a magnet. Yeah, I could do, but I've assembled him now and I can't be bothered. I've got tiny magnets, but I don't think they're quite that tiny. I'd just lose his head. I really would just lose his head. But it's not a bad idea. It's also a lot more work than just gluing his head in. I'm lazy. Where are we? Ray saying hello to Dad and Colin. Thank you for the info. You've school books so much in my modelling, says Wayne. You're more than welcome. That's what I'm here for. Can someone else go to the shops for me today? Ugh, I don't want to go out, says Muse. Internet. Sarah Jane says, I'd go, but I'm propping the floor up. Yes, you could magnetise the head. That would be a really good idea, actually. I might... See, I've glued it together now, so if I try and glue a magnet in there, it's either going to stick up too far or disappear down inside. So I've screwed the pooch on that one. I should keep that in mind. For rank and file dudes like these guys, I don't really care. They're just grunt troops. I can paint that quite. They don't get the full realistic head painting treatment. I don't even know if I can do a full realistic head painting treatment. Ragnar Blackmane will actually be my first proper character paint job, because I've just generally done grunt troops before now. So it'll be the first time I try to do a real careful paint job on a dude's head. So I thought for that one I'll keep it separate, just for safety porpoises. Right, so for 9A, we need to build arm, weapon. Happy. I'm not sure. Oh, I see. Here we go. It's build one of them, build two of them, build one of them, and then just build 10 of them. Do that 10 times for them. Excuse me. So all the accessory section is just those two squares. Next, just do that 8 times. There you go. Good. Bye. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Right, so I need 5, 7, 6, and 76. Little bit coffee, I do apologise. 5, 7, 6, and 76. Number 76. It's number 76. Not really. I really am wittering today, aren't I? Right, what numbers do I need again? 5, 7, 6. Right. Okay, let's find them first. Now, hang on a minute. I have arms here with like stabby knives in them, but it doesn't mention them anywhere. Does that mean I have the option of having stabby knives in people's arms, or is that purely for that's for the incursors, isn't it? Because they're all melee and close up and explodey things. Oh, I didn't realise that. The incursors get these cool, like, double combat knife sheaths to put on their legs. No, I didn't realise that. Oh well, never mind. I've got the namby-pamby sneaky guys with all the spiky bits. Oh well, never mind. I don't mind. Right, crack on. We'll have a load of spare bits left over though. That'd be quite nice. Theoretically, all the spare bits left over from these incursors that I don't build, next time I buy 10 Space Marines, I could theoretically convert them into 10 incursors by using all the bits that I don't use in here. So there's always a plus side, I suppose. Right, anyway. 5, 6, and 7. And 7. We need to get these parts, don't we? 5, 6, and 7, and 76. So 5, 6, and 7. Oh, I'm going to be here somewhere. Somewhere they will be here. Here, there will be somewhere. Somewhere here. Here, there, somewhere. 5, 7. Losing the will to live. And there's 76. And 1. I've lost it. I've lost it. I had it and I've lost it. Oh, 76. There we go. 76 is one of those. Scope for his bolt rifle. I assume it's another kind of bolt rifle again, isn't it? That's not necessarily a stalker rifle. But Simon didn't include the data sheet, so I don't know what they are. Where are we? 5, 7. I can't find 5, 7, and 6. 26 and 28. Hate this bit. 35, 40, 18, 16, 21, 8, 10. Aha! 6, which is next to 10 and 8, of course. Obs. I just need 5 and 7 now. There's 7. Yes, now we're cooking with gas. I just need 5. 5. Gorf. I tried to do my Gorfer voice and it didn't work because I couldn't do it. Gorf. 5. First time I ever heard a roboty artificial voice was when I was in a chip shop near me, where for some reason, little crappy chip shop, not of any great repute, but they had a Gorf arcade machine in there in the late 70s, early 80s. I was stood there and I just went in and it arrived one day and I went in and I suddenly heard Gorf and I was like, whoa, what's that? What I remember is it says, at one point it says Gorf, in a fake synthesized voice. And at one point it says something, but it says the number 5 and it comes out as 5. Wow, that's amazing. I've never heard that. And then about a year, I think a couple of years later, I was at secondary school. And in the computer room, in the IT room, as it was then, this is how old I am. The IT computer room, it was basically a room full of very, very early IBM 386s. Might have even been 286s, I'm not sure. You know, the beige desktop types with single monochrome green screens. Commodore PETs and stacks of BBC Model Bs. That's what this IT room was full of. And when you learned computers, what you really learned was how to do word processing on the BBC Model B, which was a very simple little program to put words and sentences. You didn't learn about computers at all. You were just taught how to write things, how to use like the built-in the word processing software. But of course, you could wander in the room anytime you wanted to and just mess around with the computers. I didn't know this, but there was actually a built-in speech option for the BBC Model B. You could get it to speak whatever you typed. And it's quite a good voice synthesizer on that old BBC Model B, to be honest. I can't remember how you did it now. You probably did like a little speak command and it just played it through the sound chip. Need to clear my throat. One sec. I don't know what chips they had in the BBC Model Bs. And the Commodores, it was like a MOS chip, but it was a SID chip. But on those BBC Model Bs, you could it was like a command you typed in, and it read it out, and it was great. I just spent hours typing stuff in to get the BBC Model B to say it. And of course, on occasion, I got it to say Gorf and 5, 5, 4. Oh, I ramble. I really do ramble, don't I, about some things. My rambling rose. Am I even on camera though? Even though I'm a rambler. Am I zoomed in? No. Probably a bit too close, I think. Apologies for the coughy cough. Do let me know if I'm out of focus. The first actual sampled speech I ever heard in a video game was in my local bus station. There used to be a little shop that sold sweets and stuff, a little sort of newsagent's stand, and they had usually a couple of arcade cabinets in there. Again, late 70s stuff. And at one point they had a Star Wars cabinet, a proper Star Wars, with the twin yoke, the vector graphic game. And that was the first time I'd ever heard sampled actual audio in a video game. That I think was one of the first games that actually had sampled audio, because it has little audio clips from the movie. Like, look at the size of that thing. Great shot, kid. Now let's blow this thing and get out of here. That kind of thing. And little clips from R2. And that was the attract mode, really, when you're walking through, wherever you're walking through the arcade, and you suddenly hear like R2 do his little noises, and you're like, what was that? And it's this video game, which up until that point, still vector graphics, video games were like bleeps and bloops, and now you've got this thing with little, really low quality 8-bit samples. Use the Force look, but really low quality. It was revolutionary in its time. Shoot the towers. Okay, so that's them cleaned up. Chat's moving. Massive healthy walk done. Tick, says Graham M. Evening, everyone. Who invited the fish? The fish, it just is. He gives me money, so I'm not going to complain. Welcome, Graham. I'm not saying I'm old, but my school IT room had rows of abacuses. Yes, we actually had Commodore PETs in ours. And it really was. There was two computer rooms. There was the IT room upstairs, which was full of like the old IBMs and lots of BBC Model Bs and a couple of PETs. And then there was another computer room downstairs, which was completely full of Commodore PETs, and I think a couple of other like real primitive computers from that era. And I don't know. I think the one downstairs was where they did the proper computer stuff, because all we ever got was how to write a letter. You get on the BBC Model B and it's like, right, it's how to use a computer to, say, for example, write a letter and print it out. That was as far as we got. And I was like 15, 16, so it was, I'm guessing there was, maybe the A-level students had proper computing studies. I don't know what happened with that. I never went in that other computer room where the big boys were, because I never did that kind of lesson, but I'm guessing that's where the proper nerdery took place. It was quite good. You could just wander in at lunchtime or any time you wanted to go in there if there wasn't a class in place, because there were no actual. I don't remember there being an actual IT lesson on the timetable. I think it was more just they had like ad hoc after school things where they got together and one of the teachers, who was the designated IT person, would kind of show you stuff. I don't remember, actually. I vaguely remember. I do remember lessons where we were doing things like how to write a letter and things, but I can't remember what the context was. It was like, as an English lesson one day, we'd actually go to the IT room and learn how to write a letter. I don't quite remember. It's going back 35 years now. So, yeah. I don't remember what I did yesterday, never mind in 1985. Let's be perfectly fair here. Great job, kid. Now let's blow this thing and get out of here. Yes. Was the best game ever, that, though. That old Vector Star Wars game. If I win the lottery, I will find one and have it restored to full working order, and I'll have it. I'll play it forever. I've played various emulated versions. I've got an emulated version on my old OG Xbox, modded Xbox. It was not very good. It's also meant to be played on a DOS computer, so Can't really get a good go at it on my Xbox controller, but yeah. I'd get an old Star Wars arcade cabinet. If for no other reason, for the awesome controller that was on it, that sort of twin yoke. That was a great, yeah, that could go that way, but you could also tilt the. That was a great controller. I'd load it with other games that required a yoke controller. You could play Elite Dangerous for that. It'd be fantastic. I wouldn't want just a MAME cabinet. I want the original, fully restored. I don't want no emulations. I want proper vector graphics on a CRT with the original chipset. I didn't know this, you know. When we were kids, we were like, you put your money in the game and you play it. I didn't know, of course, that when you open those cabinets up, and I was amazed to find this in later years, you open those cabinets up, there's all kinds of settings you can change on them. Like you can switch them to just give free games, and you can set the difficulty levels and all kinds of things on those arcade cabinets that we didn't know. We were just kids putting money in them. Can't go back though. Those days are gone now. And you walk into your local chippy, and they'd have like an arcade cabinet there. There'd usually be a couple, and this is the amazing thing, right? You look into like your little local Chinese chippy or whatever it is, and it's a little tiny place where they just sell fish and chips and, you know, a bit of Chinese takeout maybe. And they can't be that wealthy, but they had an arcade cabinet that they'd obviously been conned into having in their store. And it's like, you don't get that anymore. There's tiny little chippies, and they just spend all this money on renting this machine and paying it back. Because the guy came in and said, this is what you really want. You want this arcade machine. There you go. Sign this contract, done. And the irony was, they were never the latest things. They were always like a year or two out. So I remember one of the chippy near me where they had that Gorf machine. They had that thing for years. I mean, well past the date where they were ever making any money off it. They had that thing for years. They still had it long after, you know, everybody ever had stopped having arcade machines in places. News agents with a little coin-op machine in the corner. All those days are gone now, though. Gone forever. Fond memories of going into Manchester, getting off at Piccadilly Gardens. I think it was Piccadilly Gardens. Not that good a memory. It's a fond memory, but not a good memory. Get off at Piccadilly Gardens, and there was like an arcade right opposite the station where you get off. And you know, get off there, wander across the road, the arcade. And I spent many an hour playing Virtua Racing. So this would have been early 90s, I guess. I used to get the tram, so many hours playing Virtua Racing in that arcade. It was like literally you walk in the door and it's right there. And it had four consoles. Four of the arcade units linked up, so you could have 4-player games. So me and my mates would go in, all 4 of us, and we were there doing Virtua Racing all day, putting pound after pound. We spent a fortune in that place. Just for that one game, it was brilliant. We used to love it. Make a good race, say at the start, and then you'd be going along this like real simple early 3D polygonal graphics, and like you're going along this road, and suddenly a helicopter goes overhead, or a jet, and a passenger jet and something. It was like, wow, look at that! Look at it today. It's like watching Money for Nothing. It's like watching. It was kind of the graphics you got on like Money for Nothing, Dire Straits Money for Nothing. It's that kind of level graphics. But at the time, playing a video game with four consoles linked together. And of course, you sat in them. It was a sit down in the cockpit of the car kind of thing. You'd sit there with the screen in front of you. You'd have the gear stick and everything else. And you'll be like, well, I think automatic's better. And I think manual's better. And have these conversations about why you want to go manual or automatic without knowing anything about cars in reality. You wouldn't have a clue. Right, so we need the... Wait. Have I dropped a slight testicle here? I think I may have done. That guy It's supposed to be that one. Oops. Don't think it really matters. But oops. Because okay, yeah. It tells you which torso to use. Oh, this one was supposed to be torso 5, which is that one. So it should have been that one. Been this guy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Never mind. What a shame. Oops. Arse. Do some quick jiggery pokery. Right. So we'll pretend that's number 2. I don't think it really makes a difference because this guy is just going to be holding a rifle in one hand up to his chest, which doesn't really matter where his legs are, I don't think. I think we'll get away with it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. It just means that one of the rank and file chuds has got a slightly more interesting base than one of the other rank and file chuds. Oh, well, never mind. So that's that one. All the chest units are pretty much the same anyway. I hope. I say this. I'm kind of hoping this is the case. I may have just screwed a pooch here right royally. I'm going to blame Colin because it was on his stream that I made that mistake. So when we were hanging out together on his stream, it's completely Colin's fault. He obviously said a word or something when I was trying to concentrate. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. No 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 no. So couldn't really make a difference because it's just his legs are in a different position, so should be fine. So with this chap, we have he's holding the gun across his across his chest. Which we can probably kajigger together. I'm going to glue his gun to the arm first. Get that locked down. To glue in there. Thankfully, it's a square peg and a square hole for that arm at his wrist, so there's not really too much movement in the. Not like you've just got a flat bit where the wrist ends and the gun begins, because his hand's molded into the gun, so it's kind of only got a tiny little bit of. I've not done the barrel again, have I? A bit later. It's got a tiny little bit wiggle, but not too much. So what I can do is away. At least mine will look different to everybody else's now because I've got the wrong arms on the wrong body. Hello. Welcome to Fox's world where nothing is quite as it seems because he's an idiot. Glue that on there. I'm using the fat glue, but I've not gone in with the thin glue yet, and there's a very good reason. That can go there. Touch of fat glue there. Not too much. Needs to go on there and links into the rifle. Like that. There. Now, I've got them lined up nicely. So, that hand lines up with that hand on the rifle. The arm's lined up there. Now I can go in with the extra thin. The reason I didn't put the extra thin on up until now is because I might have needed to wiggle those around a little bit to get them to line up. Now I know they're being covered up by pauldrons, at least this arm is, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. The one advantage of Space Marines, you've got pauldrons to cover up your sins. There's no pauldron on this arm. So there we go. I can glue that on there. I can touch and glue on his hand there where it joins the rifle. Quite nicely done. That's it, done. Doesn't really matter what those legs are doing. No bigger that he's on the wrong body. Now remember what we were saying before about painting order and what can I get to and how do I know what I can assemble without painting first. I'm more than happy that I can access everything under there. I can access the little skull and crossbones on his chest a little bit. Can't access the full left-hand side of that little skull on his chest. But it doesn't matter because you can't see that side of the skull on his chest. I can get to this side and the top. So I can get that covered in gold because it's going to be gold. And then when you put a wash over the top of it, the wash will run around the other side and give it some shading. So even if you get only a tiny glimpse of it, your eye is fooled into thinking it's nicely painted gold skull, where it may be a bit messy on the side, but you can't really see it. So I'm not fussed about that. I can get full access to that side of the weapon, no problem. I can get under there to paint his hands. So I'll probably, there will be a back and forth when I paint like the fingers on his hand there. I'll paint them there. They may not be painted fully completely, but again, as long as I get the raised parts of his fingers painted and then get the wash or the shade over them, the shade will hide any sins and cover up a lot of little bits where it hasn't quite painted. And you can't really see it, so it's fine. Really just about keeping an eye on, don't worry too much about what people aren't going to see on a tabletop 3 feet away. Or even if you're doing it just for display purposes, taking lots of lovely photographs, if somebody stood here looking at it, I'm stood here looking at this, and even I can't really see that skull on the chest arm on the other side, so it's not the end of the world. You can easily get access to all of that. So that's that done. Really having you do this in stages, aren't they? Okay, so that's that one done. I need 2 number 3s, which is that one. In the same pose. We are Russian dancing men and we are dancing once again. Yes, never mind. For this, I need part 16, 17, 18, and 76. So let's get part 70. I'm going to predict there's a lot of part 76 coming up in the next few bits. So part 76 was not that sprue. It is not that sprue. Might be that sprue. I don't know. Got it already now. What sprue was it on? Mom! 77, 77. There we go, 76. So 2 76s. It's a ×2 step. I shall have a look at chat in a moment. Fear not, peoples. I can still smell that slow cook from downstairs. It's driving me crazy. Especially as I still can't eat it until much later tonight. 16, 17, and 18 I need. 16, 17, and 18. 16, 17, and 18. I'm tempted to do something with one of these figures that looks cool. 18 there. There we go. 16, 17, 18. 16. 16, so I need 17. This is 17. 17 is the gun. That's 48. 17, 17, 17, 17. Logic would say it's somewhere near 16, 17, 18, and 19, and 20, but it's actually not anywhere near that all, is it? There it is, 17. Snicked. Snicked. Going to need... going to need 18. These are all duplicated sprues, so that's cool. I know which ones to get. 18 was there. Except that's part number 6. 17 there. Right, so there is one dude. It seems to be. Oh no, I do get to make. Oh yeah, yes, I do get to make him. Well, that's all right then. I'm muttering to myself. Muttering to myself. You'll find out. You'll find out. There's one set of arms that I was hoping was going to be. I didn't know if it was in cursors or the other guys only, but it is actually one of my guys. My guys. Right, quick look at chat. La 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 la. Where are we up to? Chat jumped. Ice Queen's in. Hi Fox. Hi Ice Queen. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. We've got like 8 actual arcades left in an entire state, says Scale Model Muse. Yeah, we've got almost none. Mayhem says proper vector graphics with the bleeps, bloops, farts, and queefs. Well, I don't know about the farts and queefs, but the bleeps and bloops. My friend Martin actually has a working Vectrex. I really must get him to accidentally lend it to me at some point. Yeah, welcome to Ice Queen. I used to think IBM was short for its broken mate. Or International Borf Machines. Borf being broken. Fox, you're a whippersnapper. All this talk of the old days, you haven't lived yet. Burpage. I'm not saying I'm old, but decimal currency in this country is about a month older than me. I think. 1971 it came in. So we've had decimal currency in this country as long as I've been alive. That's how old I am. So old. It doesn't matter different poses, I guess, says Max McGinn. Yeah, it seems to have got. I was just worried that because it was the wrong body and torso and legs, I was worried that perhaps it wouldn't fit with that pose, but it does. It's fine. I didn't know if the legs would interfere with the pose on them. That's all. Cool. Lots of roses and things going towards Sue from Dad. All this schmaltz in my chat. Don't know if I can stand for it. Living in Bletchley, IBM were never around here. Actually, Bletchley wasn't even on maps for years. I'm that old, says Sarah Jane. Panzer says, Colin will now need to have a t-shirt saying Festa made me do it. Absolutely. That can be arranged, says Colin. Massively important place, Bletchley, says Graham M. Proof that the human mind can still edge it over any computer. Yes. Well, partly. It is definitely proof that the human mind has the edge over simple logical computers. However, it's also a stunning demonstration of what's the word I'm looking for? Arrogance and how your own hubris can shoot you in the foot. Not from the English, but from the Germans. Because one of the major things that helped them decode some of the Enigma codes, apart from the genius of the people working at Bletchley, all the code breakers and stuff, apart from all that, that was definitely a major part of it. But there was one little thing that really helped them, that without which they may have struggled and maybe not even succeeded. And that was the absolute fallibility of the human Enigma operators. Because if I remember rightly, I'm doing this from memory, so I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. It was definitely things like, basically the Enigma system. They had a different code every day, different sort of set every day. They'd adjust the set, so they'd think it would be impossible to break because you need the code guide book to start from, the key book, and to know what sort of set you're working from. Which theoretically would make it pretty much, without modern computers, pretty much indecipherable, because if you're adjusting the settings every day based on a written guide, then the only way you think to break that would be to have or to get access to the book of each day's codes. It might be like, day 35, rotate this cog this much and work from that. Day 36, rotate it another step. Day 37, rotate it back 4 steps. You reset the steps. So today A equals F, tomorrow A equals Z. And if everybody using it has the same guides, they know what to set their machines to. It's like knowing what channel to set your radio to receive a particular frequency. Without that cipher book, without that sort of key book, theoretically you might never be able to break it. However, the problem was the operators that used it this was the major problem. Pretty much every single communication ended with the words Heil Hitler. So that's the problem. They knew that at most communications would end with that phrase. So all they had to do was look for a pattern that fitted those two words. This is where I lose my monetization now because I said that. Look for a pattern that fits those, or just take the last the last 9 or 10 characters and assume that's what it is and work it backwards. So despite all this amazing technology, not in every case, but it was one of the weaknesses they found was that they always ended with the same two words, more often than not. And the first thing they would do would be to work out the last 8 or 9 characters and assume that's what it said and work it around backwards. And it's like it's like really is a facepalm moment. You go to all the trouble of inventing this amazing encryption system, and then everybody ends their communications the same way every day. So you still have to crack it the first time. That's the tricky bit. But until they realised that's how they were ending all their communications, and it wasn't all the communications, but a lot of them, until they stumbled across that and realised that was the major weakness in their system, one of a few weaknesses that could be exploited, they obviously had to flail around in the dark a bit and use their enormous human brains. Invent things like the bomb and things like that. But once they realised that weakness, it's something that could be exploited, they jumped all over it. And that's a stunning demonstration of the hubris and arrogance of man, to think we've invented this system that no one can break. It's unbreakable. And to the point where they were so convinced that their Enigma system was absolutely unencodable, unbreakable, that even when evidence started to pile up that it had been compromised and that we had access to all their data and all their communications, even when it became glaringly obvious that we were intercepting communications and knowing about troop movements and things like that, and resource movements and stuff, and secret communications, they still didn't believe it. They didn't believe we'd broken it. Right to the end of the war, they thought we hadn't broken it. They thought that when we did get things right, it was just either because of spies or intelligence gathering other ways. They thought that we had people that were giving the information. They were so paranoid and so egotistical that they thought it can't possibly be that they've broken our encryption. It must be that somebody's giving them the information or leaking it or something. It must be compromised agents in the field. And it's like just a perfect example of the hubris. Never be so arrogant to assume that what you've done is in any state of perfection. Because everything is a house of cards. It only takes one person to come and kick one of those cards out from the bottom and it all comes falling down. And this is why, just looping it back to model making a little bit, or any kind of art, I've often said in the past, I love other artists, people that do model making or painting or drawing or any kind of art. I always appreciate it and have great respect. Apart from when people say I am the big I am, and the people that say, look at my artwork, it is fantastic, no one can beat it, it is the best. Yeah, you're talking out your backside. When people get to that point where they have the arrogance to assume that what they've done cannot be improved, then I stop taking any notice of them. Because what you've done can always be improved. But never be, looping it around a little bit, never be upset that whatever you've just done isn't as good as you thought it was going to be, or isn't as good as somebody else's. Never be upset by that, because your own work will never be as good as you think it's supposed to be. You'll always be critical of your own stuff. And it never changes. I sit here and kick myself all the time. Finish a project and think, God, I've really half-assed that and it looks terrible. And then someone comes along and will say, wow, that's the best thing I've ever seen. And I'll be like, really? Terrible. That's natural. Never have that hubris to assume that what you've just done, it cannot be improved or perfected. Never think that what you've just finished is perfect. It never will be. You have to learn when to walk away from something and say, it's not perfect, it's not finished, but that's as good as I can do it. Never, ever, ever assume that what you've just done is perfect in any way, shape or form, because it isn't. It never will be. And if you think it is, you're clearly an arse, and I don't want to know you. I avoid people that think like that. I've done this thing, and it's the most amazing thing ever, and it can't possibly be improved. Goodbye. You clearly have people that think like that, and you will come across people that think like that, and it's easy to have people like that talk to you, and you get disillusioned because you think that your work, you start to believe that they're right and that your work doesn't even compare to theirs. You need to just walk away from people like that, because they're wrong and they're idiots. Don't think for 1 minute. I don't quite know how I loop that back round to creative stuff, but it's true. It's hubris and the audacity to think that what you've done is so good that it can't possibly be breached or compromised or affected or whatever. Nonsense. Always learn something on my show, don't you, really? Not always right. I'm not saying that everything I tell you is correct. I'm probably teaching all kinds of rubbish that isn't correct, but I don't care. I'm not the one that deals with the consequences of what I'm saying. Yeah. But yes, I like to teach things. I like to make sure you all learn something new every time you come here. Got a lot of barrels to drill out. I remember to do these barrels this time before I glue the arms on the dudes. Although once they're glued on the dudes, it does make life a little easier. I'll just be perfectly honest. It's my little file. My little file. My own camera? Yes. 5+5. Crackerjack. Or is that 525? I can't remember. Do. Out of the way. Or like I'm really just if I'm talking rubbish today, by the way, more than normal and wittering away at top speed, it's because I can smell me dinner. I can smell me slow cooking. It's driving me nuts. It's like putting a puppy in the same room as a tennis ball, but not being able to get to it. It's just you can have a hyperactive puppy for the next 12 hours until it can get to the ball. Pretty much. Now, one thing I didn't do. Didn't need to do it on him. Didn't need to do it on him. I forgot to check the undersuit ribbing area on him. But his arms are both folded up, so you can't see the undersuit ribbing, which is alright. I can live with that. There's a bit of a mould line there, though, that I've not got rid of. And the arm I've just cleaned up and put in the tin there as a little bit of... Realised I hadn't cleaned out the ribbing on his undersuit. I thought I'll just double check these other ones. Just to make sure. You don't want untidy ribbing now, do you? Would not be good. There's the arm. It's that one. Because his arm's not fully squished. His arm's slightly extended. So we have a small amount of fantabulation here. And then a little bit of a shenanigan. Just in the arm, in the ribbing. Can you see that? Yeah. Remember, scribing tool, your golden tool to get rid of any mould lines inside little ribbed details without sending them all away. Almost. The irony is, of course, these will be painted a very dark grey or black colour. You won't actually see anything anyway. Any little tiny highlights, but I know it's there. While I've got this in my hand, let me do the other arm. I shall have a look at chat in a moment. No, mind, look, all that stuff I've just said about Enigma and stuff. Hopefully, if I'm wrong, hopefully somebody in chat said that's complete rubbish and here's why. Because it would just be my luck. I'd go, here's the thing I know, and I'd talk for 10 minutes and we'd be like, yeah, that's complete nonsense. And I wouldn't be upset that if I'm corrected, because it's always fun to know that you're wrong about something, because I know people that get really upset when they'll say something, you say, actually that's not quite correct because, and they go and it's like, I'm not having a go at you. I'm just trying to say that something you think is correct is actually incorrect, and here's the actual correct thing. And it makes me laugh when people get frustrated when you try and correct them. Because to me, if I misunderstand something, if I don't know something, if I believe I know something and I'm actually wrong, then it's kind of embarrassing. Yeah, it's like you're actually wrong about something. Really? But at the same time, to find out that I'm wrong, I have to learn the right thing. So if I believe that the fifth number is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and somebody turns out, actually, Fox, that's actually wrong, because the fifth number is 5, and I'll be like, oh, you mean I've had it wrong all this time? I feel like a spoon, but at the same time, I've just learned that the right number is actually 5. So it can be embarrassing to be told you're wrong about something, but at the same time, you learn something at the other end of it. And that's why science is good. Science is good because science is a process of thinking that something might be the way it is, testing it, and if it fails, if your theory is incorrect and the experiment proves it, you don't get sad because your theory was incorrect and you're wrong. You get happy because your theory was wrong and the answer is wrong, and that means there's something new to learn that you don't know about. That's why scientists never get upset. A real scientist, true scientist, shouldn't be upset when their experiment fails and it proves them wrong. Like when they were searching for the Higgs boson, when the LHC first, started working, they were searching for the Higgs boson. People said to the scientists, "So you built this like multi-billion-pound particle accelerator for various reasons, but the main reason being to find the Higgs boson." I refuse to call it the God particle because that's a stupid name. Even the scientists will agree with you there. The main purpose of which is to try and discover if the Higgs boson exists, and to do other stuff as well. And they say, yeah, that's what we've done. So brilliant. What happens if it doesn't exist? What happens if your experiments show that it doesn't exist or you don't find it? And I was watching an interview, and I can't remember who it was now. It wasn't. Was it Max Tegmark? It might have been Max Tegmark. He said, what happens if you don't find it? And he says, well, there's two things that will tell us. One, it exists and we just haven't found it, in which case we need to build more, bigger, better equipment. But we'll still get lots of use from this one, but it just tells us that we need to go bigger and bolder and better and spend more money. Or, which is fine, because then we've learned that we need to make something more powerful. We've learned more about the particle by what we haven't found. Or it means it doesn't exist, and our understanding of that particular branch of classical physics is not right, of quantum physics is not right, and there's something else going on that we don't know about. And the guy said, well, would you be sad? And he's like, why? If we find the particle, it means we were correct, and we found this particle, and we now know a little bit more about how the universe works. If we don't find it, and it just means and we need better equipment, then we've got a way to get better equipment and learn things as we go along. And if it doesn't exist and we were wrong, it means there's something else going on we don't know about that we now have to go and find out. So either way, we've learned something useful. Science is an ongoing quest. You'll never know everything about everything. There's always something else to learn. And if you make an assumption, a theory, and say, I think it works because of this, and it turns out you're wrong, then it's great, because it means you were wrong. Try again. Have a think about it from a different angle. Find out what the truth actually is. That's why I love science. Because you'll never know everything. You will never know everything. I'll get these bits cleaned up, then we'll have a look at chat. Nub on that? No nub. That's not the right tool. Where is my tool? I need the right tool for the job. Science is brilliant. It's not often, it's very rarely that you'll ever hear about a scientist being humiliated because his theory was proven wrong. Because it just means there's more to do. There's more experimenting and learning to do. It's not great to be told, your life's work has been proven wrong, for example. I'm sure people have gone, great, I spent 40 years studying X, and now I've just found out that we found out that isn't actually right because of something else we found out. But at the same time, it's humbling. For a proper scientist, it would be humbling and a bit annoying. But at the same time, it's also just means we've got more work to do to find out what's actually going on. I wish I'd been a scientist. I wish I'd had an educational experience that encouraged me to do science, go to university and do sciencey things. I'd love right now to be like a physicist or something. That'd be fantastic. Cosmologist. Too late now, though. A life missed. But there you go, you see. I would have been brilliant. Imagine if I'd been like the kind of physicist now. My dream would have been to be a physicist, that I'd be the kind of person that appears on BBC Horizon talking about stuff. Physicists are cool, man. Right. Let's see what chat's doing. It's jumping is what it's doing. Hey. People are talking about having a t-shirt saying Festa made me do it. And Festa says to Sarah Jane, mine would say I can't do it as Sarah Jane's picking on me again. And Sarah Jane says, I only pick on the best. As a kid, I used to play around Bletchley Park as it was basically abandoned. It's a real shame, says Sarah Jane. They're kind of restoring it now a lot, though, aren't they? Slowly as they get donations and stuff. If I won millions and millions and millions of dollars for it, that'd be one place I would give them loads of money. Lots of things I would fund. Candygram says, I own a rotor wheel from the later Russian-made version of the Enigma called the Fialka. It's one of my favourites in my little collection of unusual artifacts. That's cool. I like that. We have a small piece of a Lancaster bomber that crashed. A little bit of the perspex from a window and a little bit of metal. I don't know where it is now, though. I think it's in the loft. Little bits of a crashed Lancaster. Fox, one thing that surprised the co-breakers is that the rotor wheels had the letters in alphabetical order. If they were irregular, Enigma quite literally wouldn't have been broken. Yeah, there you go. Another thing. Another thing that gave me a little edge. Again, the Germans saying, ha, nobody will break our code. Our code is indecipherable. But we'll end the same communication every way and we'll make it a really easy way to break. I love it. I love it. The Weird One's in, says hello. Welcome, the Weird One. We have a pub here called Captain Ridley's Shooting Party, says Sarah Jane, which was the code name for the workers at Bletchley Park. Apparently, a lot of the ways they recruited people was to say, do you like crossword puzzles? They used to recruit people who enjoyed things like the crossword puzzle and the Times and things like that. All kinds of people they recruited. Anybody that showed that kind of lateral logical thinking. And the funny thing is, right, you look at things today and how we've got, like, you know, people leaking stuff and secrets being leaked and all that kind of stuff. And yet, go back to World War II, there was something like, 100,000 people involved in Bletchley Park and all the operations involved in the code-breaking. Some stupid, crazy number of people, 50,000 people or something. And not one of them, not one single person blurbed. And to make it even more amazing, when the war finished in 1945, you'd see interviews with people in the 1980s, these old men and women who were like in the 80s and 90s, who were for the very first time talking about what they did at Bletchley Park because they were so honour bound to not break the secrets that they refused to talk about it for like 50 years. And partly as well because there was still stuff being used. It had knock-on effects for many decades. Some of the technology had knock-on effects, and they, didn't want to give anything away, but some of them were like in their 90s, and they were like saying for the first time, "This is what we did at Bletchley Park." It's amazing. You wouldn't get that now. That kind of like respect for secrecy, just forget it. No, you're right, Fox, and they also used to give a weather forecast ending in the comment that loses you money. Yes, I suddenly, after I said it, I thought, yeah, I'm probably going to get demonetized now. Oh, well, never mind. Let's just say hail to the chief instead and leave it at that. The end comment is correct, yes, but also Alan Turing was staggered that the rotors were alphabetical. Yeah, which was a massive bonus, says Sarah Jane. If you see a map of Bletchley Railway, you'll see lots of train lines as it was the end of the line. End of the line. Cool. Right, so we're up to my chat. Let's do some things together. Yeah, it's that kind of generation now from Making Model says, time for stuffing of the face to tar for now. Take care, Carl. Thanks for coming in, my buddy. Take care and enjoy your stuffings. Yeah, that kind of generation now, there's just... You'd be so hard-pressed to find anybody with that kind of sense of duty and loyalty and sacrifice now. You just wouldn't. 99% of people nowadays they're just chuds. I have nothing but a great disdain for a lot of the human race because they don't deserve anything. They don't deserve anything better. You guys are exceptions, of course. anybody that watches my content is clearly a person of wit and sagacity and great charm. Yeah, you wouldn't find anything like that nowadays. Not that we're going to start talking about politics and stuff in the chat or anything like that. None of that, please. Not in the chat. But, yeah. Kids today. I don't know. It's like the old question, isn't it? If World War II happened now, and obviously, if you suspend disbelief for a minute and imagine that there were no nuclear, we didn't have nuclear weapons, but that World War II happened now and there was an existential threat to the UK and all of Europe, like that, whatever that situation, where the country had to call upon its citizens to make great sacrifices in order to save the country from ruin. Do you think they'd do it? Again, not talking about current events as they are now. Let's not do that. I'd like to have some monetization. But imagine there was like a European war or some sort, and that kind of thing happened again. It wouldn't happen at all, would it? Younger generations now, they'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't be bothered. Edward Leonard, hello Fox, hello everyone. Welcome, Edward. Welcome. Edward Lynn says, hi Edward, and then puts a couple of octopuses. We'll count octopuses as squishies. They're countless squishies. They're slightly smarter squishies. I mean, everything's smarter than jelly. Jelly's not even have brains. Hello, Edward. Give yours jellies a little scritch behind the... I haven't got an ear. Give them a little scritch on the... whatever you call it from me. What do jellies feel like? Are they like... Because I imagine if you hold one, it's just going to go and fall apart and rip into pieces. Like, I imagine it doesn't. I imagine it's got some kind of tension to it. Muse says nope, but I don't quite know why. Oh, I mean, for me saying generations today, nah. There'd be the people like you and I who'd be like, yeah, we need to do something now. But then there'd be too many generations who'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. No. Not my country. Then you just take them around the back of the woodshed and shoot them, basically, I think. Is there anything you could do? Beep, beep, beep. See, I know I'm getting old now because I don't understand the current generations and I just want them to go away. I don't understand kids today. Oh. I literally read a conversation the other day that was revolving around Twitch. It was talking about something on Twitch. And it was either a conversation or it was I'm just realised I'm gluing these together and I've still not drilled the barrel so well. It was either a conversation about Twitch or it was an article about Twitch. I can't quite remember now. I kind of blanked it out. But it may have been an article on like Kotaku or something. I don't know. But anyway, I read through this whole article and I didn't understand a single word of it. And I'm like, what? Am I so out of touch now that I haven't got a clue? It's like, I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know what half of the words meant. I'm like, what's this? What's a pog champ? What's a what? And I was like, I was kind of scared of it. I was like, I'm getting that old now that I don't understand what the kids are talking about. That's kind of depressing. Get off my lawn! It's today. Oh, I've squished his... Oh. And oh, hang on. Let that arm sit for a bit longer. Too late now. I can't go back. Can't go back. Oh, glue. I tried sticking his arm on before I really let the weapon glue in place for long enough, but it's too late now. Committed. Do. Too much of today's younger culture now is just completely confusing to me. And I always thought, I was always like, I will never get to that age where oh, this isn't going to stick on, is it? Hang on. Maybe technical difficulty times. I'll never get to that age where I don't understand what the kids are talking about because I'm young and savvy and I know all these things and it's like, yeah, I don't know what the kids are talking about. I got to that age. Gonna be a pain in the bum now for these two, isn't it? Don't be giving me no nonsense now at this stage. That arm down a bit. This is why you don't really want to glue stuff after it's been painted. Can't always assume it's going to go together nicely. Need to wiggle this around a bit now to get it to fit. Thought that'd be a lot easier than it was. But it's not. I don't have the advantage of the right arm being covered up with a pauldron. The left arm will. The right arm won't. And make sure the right arm doesn't look like it's floating in space. Sometimes you get a little gap between the arm and the shoulder. If you're putting a pauldron on there, you can hide that quite easily. If not, you cannot. I shall have to leave these guys to fully dry, I think, before I start even thinking about drill out the barrel. Drill out the barrel. Luke's in. Hey, Luke. Thank you for my space puppy motorbikings. I opened them at the start of the show. Awesome. Thank you. Very, very kind of you. I shall have good fun building those. I shall do some little bits of conversioning so I can have them at jaunty angles on the bases as well. I didn't realise they had holes in the bases. They certainly look like a lot more interesting and fun to build than the old style Space Marine bikes, which I hate with a vengeance. I'm looking forward to painting these chaps. Thank you massively, very kind. Make sure to go and subscribe to Luke's channel, Black Rifle Model Works. Fox, you don't want to hold a jellyfish. Is it not pleasant? Is it like kind of gross? Well, apart from the stinging bit, obviously, I wouldn't want to touch the stingy bits. Late to the party, but I thought I'd drop in to say hello, says Luke. You're more than welcome, even though you're a bit late. It weren't my fault. World War II today, Graham M says. It weren't my fault, Gov. Go fight your own battles. Exactly. Edward says, I just spent an hour looking for a place to plug in my pitch throttle cables on the Rossi bike, and it turns out that they get plugged into nothing. Okay. Lynn says there's no jellies emoji, so the octopus is closest. They're all allowed. It's close enough. Fox, the youth today would have trouble in a war as mobile cell phones would get in the way. Exactly. When I was drilling out the Orc Boys gun barrels, I found it therapeutic, says the Raging Modeler. It can be fun. And Luke says, no problem. Joe Joyce just subscribed. Thank you very much, Joe Joyce, if you're watching. And if you're not, come and watch. Thank you very much for your subscriptions. Very kind of you. Right, so that's that one. Yeah, that didn't... Yeah, it's not quite a flush fit on his arm there, but it'll be alright. It'll be alright. Get this one on. Arms and rifles, free for a pound. If you don't get that joke, it's from me and Colin on Friday night. Free for a pound. I will be looking into, potentially, no promises, but I'm looking into, potentially, the option of it not doing a few of these Warhammer Sundays where it's not just me on my own. Quite fancy. Me and Colin have been talking about it. Because I like, you watch Colin and Dave doing their Sunday show, or Colin and Dad, or Chris and Ted doing theirs. And while I do love doing this show, and it's just me on my own, and we have a good time. That's not going to stick, is it? I'm going to have to leave that for a minute. It's nice to have someone to riff off. And I do enjoy doing Colin's Friday show, so I'm going to look into it and see what the options are for making Warhammer Sunday. Maybe not all the time, but occasionally a bit of a co-op show. Maybe me and Colin, or me and Dad, or whatever. And really it just comes down to hardware and technology. I'm not fully sure that my system can cope with streaming 720 up to StreamYard and then back down, and then streaming 1080p out without some hiccups. So I've got to look into it a little bit. It might be, you know, I have to lower the quality significantly. But I think it would work. Probably. If not, if I do some co-ops with Colin, then, you know, Colin can do the StreamYard bit. I can do the Streamlabs bit. That'd be fine. We'll figure it out. But it would be quite nice to do some co-op streams every now and then. I'll keep an eye open for that in the future. I was thinking about doing one today, but I didn't have time to get it all set up and do some testing. So, yeah. Drink a coffee. Well, let me know what you think. Would that be something you'd interest you, or do you prefer it just me on my own, or I don't know? I have no problem. I'm quite happy to sit here and just waffle on for 3 hours. But I've kind of enjoyed it when I've been doing the little co-op stream with Colin on a Friday. So, After the bombs drop and the civilization is over, they'll probably be whining that the internet is down, says Panzerkönig. Absolutely. Or they'll be texting and look up and wonder why a big enemy tank was in front of them. People are saying hi to Luke. Panzer says it's like the UK government adverts for Protect and Survive. They are so funny. Oh yeah, I used a little bit of music from that in some of the E-Models live streams, and I kind of had to stop doing it because I realised it was still technically copyright, even though it's government. I think they still come under copyright. They might not, though, because it's government informational films. They might be public domain. I'm not sure. But that's sort of like... It was great classic 1980s informational film music. Can't get much worse than that. And who can forget that classic radiation fallout sound that they use on the animation? If you're not seeing them, go and look up UK Protect and Survive 1980s, the videos. They're both terrifying and cheesy as all get out, basically. They're terrible and brilliant at the same time. I did once have to do the jump under the table alert at school. Refused the second time, says Sarah Jane. Now, people take the mickey at me when I say this, right? My mates, well, not my mates, but like, you know, Ted and that lot sometimes riff me for saying this. But I remember when I was a kid, in the 1980s, early 80s, when I was a kid, they used to test the air raid sirens. Oh, look, Dad, look. I've got a casualty, look. Dun, dun, dun. And he's repairing right now. It's because I sometimes pick it up and go like that to open the bottle when I should actually hold it like that. They used to test the air raid sirens. Because I used to say, like, you know, I wasn't alive during World War II, but I know exactly what standard air raid sirens sound like because they used to test them all the time. They used to be one on top of our school. And they used to have them on top of like schools and government buildings because they were used for the 3-minute warning, but they were the same air raid sirens that they had in World War II. And people who don't know me in real life, or didn't live around here, would be like, nah, you're just talking rubbish now. You're not that old, Fox. No, really did. And they used to test them like once a month, only for a minute. So it's weird that I can have not been born anywhere near World War II, yet I have heard on many occasions actual air raid sirens. So it is a terrifying, even when you know it's a drill, it's a terrifying sound. Because I mean, I was like what, 9, 10 years old. I knew what they meant, and I was old enough and had the nous enough to know what nuclear war meant. But yeah, it was terrifying, man. And it was always on a Sunday, it would seem, as well. And always when you'd forget they were going to test it on a Sunday, and you'd be like, wake you up in the morning. Panzer says, yep, me and Colin are funny together. Gluage required. Plastic magic, says Dad. I've used that now. It'll be fine. The problem is, it's like, for example, when I want to take the lid off this one, I grab it like that, and then I turn the lid, but it's putting pressure. I need to not do that. I need to take it out and loosen it, and then put it back in again. I'm treating my dad devices poorly. And I shouldn't be doing that. It's a bad thing. I'm a bad man. I always reinforce it with some plastic card. Underdog Painting's in. Hey guys. Hey Underdog. How you doing, my friend? My primary school used to use the air raid siren for a fire drill. Scared the oldest shitless. Yeah, I should imagine it did. In Minnesota, they test the air raid sirens for first Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. They use them for tornadoes and severe weather warnings. Still, yeah, I was going to say in the US, you guys use them for like weather warnings and stuff. We don't have that over here at all. So, yeah. Right, so I've glued on the weapons for them. I'll need to drill them out, but I'm not going to drill them out now. They'll get drilled out some other time because, yeah, they'll just fall off. We're up to Underdog says Ice Queen. Blueridge required says Dad. 1970s telly adverts. I was watching a load of Pathé newsreels the other day. I think I said it in the other stream. All from like the 1970s, like late 50s and 60s. And that guy, whatever his name was, something Danvers, something, or the guy that did the classic voice for the Pathé newsreels. I swear I came away, I'd watched so many, I came away saying soldiers rather than soldiers. These are classic tin soldiers. I wish I could do that guy's voice. Something Danvers. If you look up Pathé News voice announcer, whatever, narrator, it'll give you his name. It's something Danvers something. Absolutely ridiculous. If you listen to it today, you're like, why is he talking like that? It sounds stupid. But it was like, it's weird to think only 50 or 60 years ago, it was received English was like a correct way to do like voiceovers. Here is Mr. Smith doing his thing on a Wednesday morning, playing with tin soldiers. Great. I really must do a Pathé newsreel style film at some point. Right, what's next? Okay, so that's that one. It's 36. We haven't really got time to do another one, so we'll probably leave it there. I need to do my nose blowage again, because of course the camera's on and lights are on. Ah, sniffles. Hey, everything's exploded. Woohoo! Ugh. Like I uncorked a bottle. Ugh. Ah, that was messy. Woo. Right. So there's no point me starting another guy now, because it'll be another glue on arms and guns, but we've only got 20 minutes to go, so I'll bring these back over here. I shall show you my... There's a Deathcore Creek. How did he get in there? Little tiny... Just to show you, by the way, oddly, that's a Space Marine. That's a normal size human. That's a Deathcore Krieg, and he's missing a leg. But roughly, get an idea of how big Space Marines actually are. They're not just normal people. That's a Deathcore, and that's a Space Marine. They're both to the same... He's not really standing up properly. Have I got a proper standing up one? Not really. He's about that tall, if you put him on his base properly. So it just gives you an idea of what Space Marines actually like. They're like augmented humans. So, yeah. Just so you know, Deathcore. When I paint these guys, it's going to be a lot more fiddly than painting these guys, because these guys are like... I'm painting like a 3 foot tall thing here. I can paint this with a sponge. This, yeah, they're tiny. So, that's a spare Deathcore. I've got to do some arm tests with him to make some arms fit. Let's get these guys back over there. Where are we up to? What's chat doing? Funnily enough, I still have the back of a cupboard 3 NBC kits. NBC. Is that like a if the world goes to shoot? Anti-radiation stuff. Where's the camera? There's the camera. So we'll get these there. We built a bit today. We've done a bit. We've done some slight twiddlage. Ragnar Blackmane there, sat at the front going, "Rah!" We're still working away. We've got all these. Once we've got all these guys done, we've still got the. I keep wanting to call it Start Collecting, but it's not. It's the Combat Patrol. We've got the Combat Patrol set to build with millions of people in that one, and that's the standard Primaris armor. Them guys. I know it's not in focus. I can't change the focus now. But when you look at that armor, and then I see these like Reaver style. I do like this Reaver style armor much more. I much prefer this kind of streamlined. I mean, it's a shame they didn't make the actual Space Marines look like that. That's mint. No, like when you look at when Primaris first came out, you look at the Primaris and you compare it to the old Marines, and you think, God, those old Marines look terrible now. They look really dumpy and stupid. But now you look at these guys and you think, God, those Primaris Marines look really dumpy and stupid compared to these guys. If you want to hear that voice, watch Two Tribes Go to War by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, says Graham. There's the Pathé News Company actually have an entire YouTube channel with all their footage on it. There's millions of them. I was watching that for hours. He's on there. He did a lot of work for Pathé Newsreels. But the guy that did Protect and Survive, that was a different chap whose name I can't remember. He had a scary, but he had that kind of like clipped. It wasn't him that did the Protect and Survive stuff. I know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of the guy that did the Protect and Survive. That's not the Danvers, whatever his name was, that did the. I'll start that again. The guy that did the Pathé News films is not the same guy that did Protect and Survive. The guy that on the Frankie Goes to Hobbywood song is the guy. That's a clip from Protect. In the event of nuclear war, that's the guy from. That's the sound footage from Protect and Survive films. I can't remember his name, but it was like a real, quite scary voice he had. When I was a kid, his voice was like, "In the event of a nuclear war, you're all going to die. Goodbye. Ha! You're screwed." It was a horrible voice. I didn't like his voice. And custodies are 10-foot soldiers, says Max. Yeah, custodies are even bigger. The Fallout warning was 3 bangs meant to be of saucepans. Panzer Koenig says, next payday I shall be ordering one. Pupularity. Is this a Festa Made Me Do It t-shirt? Muse says, skill scares the crap out of me thanks to having drills in the 70s at school where we actually went into the bomb shelter in the school basement. Fire drill my eye, it was a raid drill. We just ducked under the desk and kissed our ass goodbye, says Lindipple. Okay, yeah, Panzer and Festa are about the t-shirts. Cool. Okay, I'm up to date with the chat. So there we go. We got these guys built anyway for now. I went dead loud then, sorry. Got these guys built so far. So next week we will carry on with the. We seem to be doing like all the weapons, and then it'll go back and do all the heads and accessories. I don't quite know why they're doing it that way, but kind of weird. But we'll get these guys built up. Then we'll crack on with that combat set, and then we'll obviously get the 3 bikes that Luke's very kindly sent me. Again, Luke, massive thank you to Black Rifle Model Works. Keep saying Black Rifle. I don't know why. Black Rifle Model Works. I don't know why my brain's making me do that. Black Rifle Model Works. Big massive thank you to Luke. That's very kind of you to send me those. Lovely chap. I'll see if I can paint them as well as yours. Probably not. But a swig of coffee, and then I think we'll call it quits then. Don't forget, of course, in approximately 15 minutes on Scaly Models channel, which is where Dad lives, because he's Scaly Models, it is, of course, Dad's in-between show for an hour with Colin will be joining him. So seeing as I'm not cooking dinner, although I've got to go and do the washing up, I might still miss it. I usually miss it because I'm cooking dinner, but we'll see if I can join in this time. Go and watch that. And of course, Ted and Chris will be doing their Warhammer stream tonight. Ted and Chris, I think it's going to be on Chris's channel. Can't remember whose channel it's on. It'll either be on Gross Models or it'll be on Skipper Scale Models, one of the two. You know which channels they are. But it's Ted and Chris tonight doing their Warhammers. I think Chris is doing the mech gun. And I think Ted's still carrying on with his Hydra, doing his weathering on his Hydra. So, yeah, go and check that out anyway. That's at, I'm going to guess 9 o'clock. 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending whether it's Chris or Ted. Check both the channels, it'll say on there. I'm not fully sure. But that's going to do me for today, so thank you very much for watching. I will be back tomorrow, of course, for the eModels Monday show at 9 PM tomorrow night on eModels YouTube channel. Throughout the course of the week, I will start getting the final episode of the Lehman Russ painted up. I know that was a really bad shot. I'll start filming the final episode of that. And hopefully that'll be up and done by the end of the week or early next week. And then it's on to freedom then. We'll do whatever we want. May possibly be back on Friday with Fallout Friday, and then of course on Friday midnight it might be me and Colin doing another midnight stream if Colin's up for it, assuming all goes well and we're all available. But probably Fallout Friday. I will be honest, I'm getting a bit bored of Fallout. I know it's horrible, so it may be that for a while I'd renege on the Fallout and make the Friday stream just something else, like more of this. I don't know yet though. We'll see. I like Fallout. I love Fallout to bits, but doing it as a live stream, it's like I just don't think it's very exciting for you guys to watch, whereas Skyrim's a bit more fun. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, of course, if you're watching this and you don't already, please do consider helping to support this channel and keep it alive. I absolutely 100% depend on my patrons and my channel members to be able to do this all day, every week of the year. So please, if you have, even if it's just £1 a month, doesn't matter, even just £1 a month, something like that. If you're able to help out, either go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru and become a patron, or you can just click the join button at the bottom of any of my videos. You can become a channel member. Either way, you get early access to a lot of content a week in advance ad free, and you will get access to some existing exclusive content Exclusive. That's not even a word, Fox. Access to exclusive content. Oh, with more to come in the future. So there you go. For example, if I make stuff, say Goblin or remodels, and I make it exclusively for them, I may make it available for my patrons and members only. Like the Wazbomb Dakajet series, only my patrons and members can see it on my channel. Anyway, that's going to do us. Thank you very much for watching. I'll make sure my buttons still work.
Slap it on.
Yes, Ted is my litmus test of buttons. So thank you very much for watching. Go and watch Colin and Dad in a few minutes on Dad's channel, Scale Your Models. And I shall say, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You already are. Until next time, adios, amoebas.